the Global Peace Tribe. And we're excited. We are about to unveil for you, for the very first time, our brand new bumper. So here we go, and welcome. Isn't that fun? Hey, everybody. So welcome to our Saturday Night Live for the Global Peace Tribe show. As always, we come to you Saturday night with music and comedy and inspirational speakers. And in a moment, our partner Deborah will tell us all about our inspirational speakers and our theme for tonight. But I want to start by thanking you for being with us. Please share this out over Facebook. This is how more and more people are learning about us. Last week, we had over 200 people share us on their Facebook walls and groups. So we really appreciate that. And I want to thank our broadcast partners, Unify, Disclosure Fest, Global Days of Unity, Earth Dance Global, Awake TV, the Sign Network. I just had John and Summer on my show last night, getting to know them better. New Realities TV, Portal to Ascension, and my company, Love Coach Academy. So whether you're watching us through any of those particular broadcast partners or watching us live on Facebook, or those of us that are in the Zoom room, we have over 150 people that are in our Zoom room, and that number is going to go up and up and up. People from all over South Africa. We always have the Zoom roomers telling us where they're from. And I just saw somebody from South Africa. You know, this show started as a very local Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area fundraiser for a friend. And the pandemic had just started. And so we actually took what was going to be a live event, put it online, had some musicians. People said, my God, this is great. Let's do this again. And it grew and it grew. And it kind of became national around the time that we brought on Deepak Chopra and Marianne Williamson. And then now that Unify carries us, we truly have gone international. So it's really exciting. And we're really proud of how it's growing. And you help us to grow it by sharing it out to your friends on Facebook. So please do that. Please continue to share this out. And to tell us more about the show and to introduce what's going to be happening tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce my partner. She's amazing. It's Deborah Giusti. Hey, Deb.
Hi, thank you, Scott, and welcome everyone to what is our 21st show that we produced during the lockdown. It's our 5th show of this season of August to September, and we've got 4 more shows planned for you for this season. So it's been an amazing journey. Thank you so much. If you've signed up for our Zoom room and give us a donation, which is optional along the way, that really helps us produce a high quality show for you. So much appreciation for that. And again, this is going to be a very special show. We really try to tune into the pulse of what's happening and bring you shows that something everyone's thinking about, that they want more information, they want more connection, they want keynote speakers and musicians that are really addressing these important topics. And tonight, our theme is navigating these unprecedented and revealing times. Now, when we emerged into 2020, a lot of us said, 2020, clear vision, we're going to see all the way. And wow, have we seen a whole other side of reality. And so much is being revealed now. A lot of this information I've been looking at and studying for a long time, and it's kind of been behind the scenes, but now it's coming up all over social media, all over everywhere. And it's really intense and really difficult to sort out and know what's true, what's not, and how do we integrate this information and really use it for positive transformation of ourselves and of our community and the solutions that we're creating now to get out of this current birth canal into a whole new world. And some of this information may be shocking, and some of this information may make you fearful. And for me, that's the most important thing, is to not go into fear and to not go into judgment and to not think what I'm hearing is exactly the way it is, but really allow myself to discern, allow myself to tune in to my inner spirit and understand what this is. And we're talking about all the information that's behind government stuff, what's going on with the pandemic, and just whole new reality shifts in the world. And what's really important is to not judge your family, your friends, and allow everyone to have their viewpoint, because everyone's viewpoint is important and we can all learn from each other. And the most important thing is to learn from each other and to unify together and to stay together. That's what this show is all about, is bringing us together towards a positive transformational outcome that we can experience during this very critical but evolutionary time. And the most important thing is love, is to really, the fear and the polarization stops the love from flowing. And the love is what's going to bring the high vibration and the insight in and allow us to connect and really high collaborate in a whole new level to create this new world that's being birthed now. So we have amazing speakers coming that are all going to address this. And we're so happy you're here. Please, again, share it on Facebook. We put the Facebook link in the chat room and we'll do it again. You can also have people join us on Zoom still. We'll put the Zoom link in again. And please share the replay. If you signed up on Zoom, you will get the replay on Monday. And please sign that, because this is going to be a really important show. And if you're with some of our broadcast partners and you want to join us in Zoom and become part of the Global Peace Tribe, which means you'll get the announcements and you can chat with us and join us on Zoom, just go to globalpeacetribe.com and you will see our website. You just sign up there and you'll get the Zoom link every week. You'll also get the schedule of all the speakers, so you can see exactly what schedule that who you want to see exactly and when they're coming on, which is really helpful. You'll also be able to join our pre-show programs. You'll also be able to participate in community connection. And that's after the show. We allow you to come on as a panelist and share a 1-minute transmission of what you think and what you want to share from your heart about the show or about what's happening in the world right now. And there's also a lot of free gifts and a lot of access to other shows and information we're going to give you. So go to globalpeacetribe.com if you're seeing this on Facebook or some of our broadcast partners, and you can sign up with us. And another thing we do that's really powerful with this show, not only do we give out important information each week, we use this as a catalyst for change. And we do this through our GoFundMe. We know that there's a lot of organizations that are assisting in the pandemic now and helping our community and doing good. And it's the power of our community that can really activate these organizations. So we have a GoFundMe, and we usually choose 1 or 2 organizations or possibly someone in need in our community. And it's your donations that come in during the show, anything from $10 to $100. People have given us $500. That is through the gifting economy, where we're gifting the show to you, and then you gift us back the green energy, the green love, and we gift that back to valuable organizations. It's amazing. We've funded about 20 organizations of about $1,000 each or more because of what you've given us. And we're going to share more about the organizations later. One organization we're going to have is Peers, and that's an organization that puts out highly incredible information of all the topics that we're talking about, that's research and documented, an incredible resource. And we're also financing the Shidala Sufi community in California. I think you know we're going through incredible fires that happened due to an electrical storm, and their community totally burned down. And they're also a source of getting money to people that are in need because their houses have burned down. So I want to just dedicate this show again to all the people that are suffering because of the fires or the COVID or economics, because this show is for our healing and our connection. And so I just want to honor everyone that's going through that and send you all love. And now I want to introduce our co-host. Scott and I produce it, but we're bringing in incredible people that are helping us do this. And this is Chirea Fox. She is a Renaissance woman. She's a producer. She is multi-talented. You're going to hear more about her when she's actually going to do a talk, but I want to bring her on because she helped create the show and knows a lot of the speakers and is going to help share more about what's going to be happening. Thank you, Chirea.
Thank you so much. And yes, my name used to be Chirea Fox, and I've confused everybody perfectly by calling myself Shariah Dharma now. And that's my actual name at this point. And thank you, Deborah. I'm loving working with you all. It's such a pleasure to be on this show. And this is an amazing group we have gathered here today, including, in order of appearance, the illustrious Molly McCord, who is a wonderful astrologer, and also she brings in really great transmissions sometimes. Her design is all about helping us do just what the show is about, navigate the times and make our best and highest choices as we go through the shift. I highly recommend her on YouTube. Diane Patterson is just a beautiful, beautiful sister, soul sister, who I've known for many years, back since, I don't even know, 2008 or something like that. I've had her on a lot of stages that I've helped produce and just spent really wonderful time. I'm so grateful you're here, Diane. Thank you. It's so great to reconnect with you. And you're just a gorgeous, amazing singer who helps us also wade the waters of these times. And my dear friend, soul sister Sherry Herndon and I worked together at One Love Fest a long time ago. And I'm so grateful that you get to be here. You're kind of making your debut as a thought leader and have spent a lot of time with Barbara. And I'm forgetting the name. I got, what is Barbara? The Barbara that everyone knows.
Barbara Marx Hubbard.
Of course, it just left me. Yeah. So anyway, you'll hear more about that when we introduce Sherry more fully. And Sherry's a true thought leader in her own accord. So we're really grateful to hear from you, Sherry. And JP Sears is actually married a friend of mine who used to work on my shows, and he's hilarious. He's a great satirist for our time and just really pulling the punches here to keep us laughing and thinking. So we're having a lot of videos from him. And Charles Eisenstein is a thought leader who's very popular in the larger community right now, who's also an author and has a lot to say about this particular topic from his heart for the purpose of helping to end the separation, which is probably the core problem, if you will, of being a human being on a planet here in our spiritual growth. iStar, our dear friends from back in the day when I used to produce events. You've been on many of the stages that I've helped put forward, and you're from Appalachia, you're married, you have wonderful children and kitty cats, and you're incredible folk hop artists, and so glad to be reconnecting with you and bringing you here on the show. And Abraham Jaffe, I'm just learning about, but he's a Sufi mystic, amazing advanced energy healer. I can't wait to learn more about him and learn from him, because this is one of my favorite topics of practice and study for 30 years. And Samuel J. I met at One Love Fest in 2016. Absolutely heart-touching, beautiful music that will touch your soul. It's perfect for soothing us and easing us through these times. Thank you. And Paul Levy, Paul Levy is a beautiful brother who's very much akin to my work. He likes to create reality and help us weave the web of language and imagination in order to create shifts that are necessary in our consciousness, which is actually the core of how we're going to solve these problems and move forward. And Fred Burks, we've heard about a little bit. He's got a platform called wanttoknow.info, along with a number of other really magical platforms, and spends a lot of beautiful time teaching others and really setting the tone for our conscious connection with what's happening in the world. And so we appreciate Fred for that very much. And Justin Deschamps, I've been at Portal to Ascension speaking alongside of Justin a number of times now, and I've been on your radio show, and you are, as we talked about earlier in the pre-show, very much committed to bridging the gaps for people so that they can feel their own essence as they move through these times and this information and the quantity of information. And you're another person who very carefully vets everything that comes through your door. And I know that about you. I've been watching you do this and truly appreciate it, because discernment is key here in these times. And you're a great teacher of that. And I'm sure you're practicing it all the time as well. And Mickey Huff is the head of Project Censorship and a number of other organizations, and also an author. And again, this is someone who has dedicated his life to helping weed the wheat from the chaff. Like, what is really happening in the world? What does censorship mean? Why is it taking place? How is it taking place? And for those who don't realize it's taking place, maybe starting to initiate them into the realization that, in fact, yeah, even people we know, even YouTubers we love, are being censored at this time. And that's surprising and concerning. And we will be hearing some wisdom from Mickey tonight about all of that. And I think that does it. Hope I didn't miss anybody. But we're in for a really fantastic show, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, audience participants, everybody on Zoom, everybody on the live streams. Just welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's get into it.
All right. Thank you very much, Sharaya. It's great to have you on the team. Welcome, everybody. We've got over 250 people now in the Zoom room. Continue to tell us your name and where you're from, and definitely comment on the show. And as you comment, we just want to request that people, nothing personal, no personal attacks. We are an inspirational variety show. Tell us what you're inspired by, how you're inspired by what Fred or Mickey or any of our speakers have to offer, all right? So we're about inspiration and sharing our perspectives, but not attacking anybody, all right? And with that, we always love to get going with music, and I'm going to turn over to Deborah to introduce our first musical artist.
Yes, thank you, Scott. We do love to go with music. Setting the vibration and the tone of the show is so important. So we always invite an incredible musician, and we've been wanting to have this woman for a long time. Diane Patterson is an amazing musician, and she has been on the circuit forever. She's performed with me during my Harmony festivals for many years. She performs at a lot of goddess festivals. She's worked with Annie DeFranco and many other people, and she's really a world healer. She writes her own songs. Her healing, her message, her activism, the transformation of the world comes through her songs. And we're so happy to have her start the show and give us her love through her music. Thank you, Diane. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you all, navigating these times. If you can hear everything, I'm going to take off these phones and just play music. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, this song is about many things, but for navigating these times, it's about we're not alone. And I love what you said, Deborah, about finding that place where we can know that we are together, that we're all together in this. And I wanted to share that one thing for me to remember is that right now we're in Northern California and we have big wildfires here. And my prayers for rain and my prayers for connecting with the sacred fire. I remember that I'm not alone in making this prayer, and not only are many humans making this prayer, but many living creatures and all the plants would love to breathe clean air, to not be burned in the fire, and to live. Come on, rain, come on down. Come on, dance upon this ground. Come on, rain, come on down. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on, rain, liquid life. Come on, kiss your earthly wife. Let your love sink through her skin. Come on, quench her thirst again. Come on, quench her thirst again. Come on, quench her thirst again. Ah. So many days and nights out praying, down on my knees in the desert like a child. Alone, running wild. All of those days and nights in the desert, looking for rain and forgiveness for a child. Alone, running wild. What have I done? I asked of my mother. What have I done? I cried of my father. I'm just a child, alone, running wild. Oh, 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 oh. Come on, rain, come on down. Come on, dance upon this ground. Come on, rain, come on down. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on, rain, liquid light. Come on, kiss your earthly wife. Let your love sink to her skin. Come on, quench her thirst again. Come on, quench her thirst again. Come on, quench her thirst again. I'm a child of earth, alive in a body, gazing into the embers of a fire. Singing, I'm not alone. I'm a child of earth, awake in a body, gazing into the loving eyes of Gaia. Singing, I'm not alone. We are children of earth, awakened in body, gazing into this circle made of love. Singing, we're not alone. Come on, rain, come on down. Come on, dance upon this ground. Come on, rain, come on down. Come on, make that holy sound. Come on.
Whoa.
So much love.
Thank you so much. And such a perfect song. I'm actually was evacuated from my home 10 days ago and have been staying with a friend and operating in with a lot of smoke. So thank you, Calling for Rain. We're going to hear more from Diane a little bit later on in the show. She's blessing us with another song. We want to just always support our artists and our speakers. So please, you can find her on Instagram at Folk Goddess 2. You can find her on Facebook at Diane Patterson Music, and you can find her online at dianepatterson.org. So let's definitely support Diane and her amazing music. Thank you. And to introduce our first full speaker, here's Sharia. You're on, Sharia, to introduce.
Sherry? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Just finding my little notes about the wonderful Sherry Herndon, a beautiful evolutionary leader, social innovator, and catalyst for transformation. I have seen her do this. I've seen her poetic nature, her storytelling essence, and she's just a gem of a wisdom keeper and a goddess. And she shares a passion for accelerating regenerative culture, community, and movement building with a focus on coherence in social systems, scaling collective intelligence, and anchoring everything with the wisdom of the heart and the harmony of feminine intelligence. For the last 25 years, she has worked at the nexus of the fields of media, technology, and consciousness, focused on developing new forms for civilization to be fully actualized. She's an exceptional navigator at the edge of cultural innovation and tracking trends and trim tabs, for the Bucky fans, for the greatest social impact toward a moral society. Her work includes new paradigm storytelling, consulting, strategy, coaching, and speaking, facilitating and whole systems design work focusing on the story of the new paradigm arising in our midst. Stay tuned for Wild Feminine Wisdom and Thriving Together. These are some programs and things that she's cultivating right now, and you can visit her at sherryherndon.com. Welcome, Sherry. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharia. It's really great to be here. I'm so honored. And I love what Diane was sharing about our relationship to the universe and to this earth that we are on, Gaia. And that's a really important meme I want to plant in our field as a conscious evolutionary and as someone who considers herself connected to the patterns and cycles of life since the Great Radiance, that this meme is crises precede transformation, which is really important for us to take this like big look through deep time, like 4 billion years for the earth or 13.8 billion years for the universe, that there are these moments when life encounters crises and a radical change is required. That's really where I feel we are in. And this is not a moment to like surrender to the collapse going on around us, but to actually rise into our greatness. And when we understand that there's this dance going on that we are intimately a part of, like Justin was speaking earlier, these layers of intimacy, we can step in saying, okay, we're creators, we're not victims. We can choose in every moment. And when we stand and operate from a place where we are victims, then what's happening to us around us is like, we're not in control. It's just happening to us. We're being buffeted around by the system, the polarizing, the kind of the craziness in our world. But when we flip it and we stand in a place of being a creator, we are shifting from being victim to being fully free and sovereign. I believe that's the transition that we are all in right now as well, even in the kind of the darkness, you know, it's darkest before the light. So it's a good reminder that we created all of this, all of these systems as a species, so we can redesign it. And when we're looking at this navigating, I think another level is what's our moral compass? What's the moral, ethical foundation for a new culture? And it comes down to the simple ways that we navigate in all of our relations. And there's sometimes when we don't actually know what is true or what is not. And that is actually beautiful to admit. We don't know. Oh, I don't know. I think that's so refreshing, you know? And are you listening to something that someone has told you and do you just take it in without thought? Like it's just true. Or are you taking it in and receiving it into yourself as like this sovereign being? It's a whole different way of receiving information. And I believe that we're really renegotiating with the very structures of all of the systems on the planet. There is a collapse going on, and this is what the Hopis call Koyaanisqatsi. The world is turned upside down. And it's been like this for a while, but now it's really in our face. And in some ways, this is awesome. Because we humans seem to need crises to get activated. So I'm thinking of this whole time that we're in as a kind of doorway into our initiation, into our greater potential, into our greatest social potential. That's what I'm choosing. So when things are at their worst, what becomes possible? And here's one of my favorite quotes from Nobel Prize winner Ilya Prigogine. He was also Barbara Marx Hubbard's, one of her favorite quotes too. When a system is in the greatest chaos, that is when there will arise islands of coherence in a sea of chaos, and that will make all the difference. So I invite you to consider yourselves as being islands and clusters of coherence, with deep inner alignment, with the shared values with those around you, and working in those alignment fields. And know that whatever frequency you're holding, no matter what it looks like around you, that's making more difference than you can possibly imagine. So I want to just invite us all to, in this moment, what's that most beautiful dream that you have that you can hold on to no matter what? Can you stay and be in the still point when the polarities are pulling you in opposite directions? Can you listen from a place that is deeper than the place where you think you already know? And here's something to consider. At best, our information is incomplete. I don't care who you are. And at worst, it's inaccurate. So that's good to recognize that we can humble ourselves into that and realize that we're standing in a territory that has a level of insanity to it. The corrupt codes are in our face, and we can choose different ways to be. So here's another really important meme. Face everything and avoid nothing. This is one of the 5 tenets of evolutionary enlightenment. So we notice the crises, we feel it, we don't run away from what those intense energies are, and we grieve for everything that's dying, and we're in the paradox that life and rebirth is happening as well in every single moment. So I invite us all to embrace being a creator and to claim it. We are architects of our future, and this is the threshold of what I call and we call the golden decade. So we're using our powers of creativity to invoke this. And here's a few more distinctions. We're moving from the age of concept to the age of embodiment, out of our minds and into more of our hearts and our bodies, which has this vast intelligence to it. You actually have 5 billion miles of DNA coil in your body. So just think of all that latent DNA waiting to be activated. That's also what's coming. And as I said already, we're shifting out of victim to creator, out of the drama triangle, which a lot of these dynamics are, into a creator dynamic. And when you take a creator stance, you can fully inhabit and stand in creation codes, no matter what's happening around you. And then we're moving from survival as a species to thrival. This is like what we're choosing. These times are a profound invitation for us to take more radical responsibility for whatever is ours to do and be. And we all know what that is. And we need more critical thinking skills. We need to be trained in this. You know, we should have a new curriculum in schools for what we need now. More dialogue skills, and we need to be upgrading these capacities for our times. And we need to get still enough to connect with our deepest knowing, to know thyself. And along with that, that means we really take time to notice where we're not loving ourselves enough, and then love ourselves more compassion, more forgiveness. That's the only way. We do it here. We do it with all of our relations. And I want to just speak really quickly about our spiritual, progressive, regenerative, evolutionary, unity, freedom, love movement. Whatever those words are to describe this global movement. I believe that we're being asked to go deeper, come out of spiritual bypass, and to take another look to see where we haven't been fully tending our own garden. We don't want to appear to others in this culture of narcissism that we don't have it all together. Well, as a culture, we're standing in the fire. It's an alchemical fire of transformation and revelation. So let's not be in denial, but to be fully awake to the dreams we hold in us. This is the bridge. So I want to leave everyone with a focus on our dreams and on our greatest heart's desires. For coded in those dreams and desires is the blueprint of your evolutionary potential. This initiation into our greatest potential. So thank you for letting me share some of my thoughts with you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Really appreciate you kind of getting us off to a great start. I just want to remind people that you can learn a lot more about Sherry by going to, it's very easy to memorize this one, Sherry, that's one R, S-H-E-R-I, Herndon, HERNDON.com. So Sherry, thank you so much. And I certainly hope that you'll come back and be on the show again some other time. We are going to show a pretty special video right now. We're going to be showing more videos in tonight's show. And this is a video from a very popular astrologer named Molly McCord. She's very cool and very hip. And she has, again, just like Sherry is helping to set the stage and the tone for our understanding of what's going on, we want to share what Molly McCord has to say. She wasn't able to join us live, but she made this special video just for us. So let's hear what Molly McCord has to say about these times.
Hi, this is Molly McCord. I'm an intuitive astrologer and author, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a contributor here on your wonderful global program, Saturday Night Alive. I am so honored to contribute a message that I hope reminds you of who you are energetically at a soul level and beyond what has come up for all of us in 2020. The astrology of this year is powerful and rare. We've been talking about it since 2018, how 2020 was a turning point as we started a new decade. And here it is, right? We can see the proof everywhere. And so there's something about this year that is also reminding us that we were made for these times. We were made to keep going, to stay strong, and to focus on the long-term goals of not only our lives, our personal lives, but our collective experience. So as we continue through this very big year, please remember that you arrived here on this planet with everything you need, and that part of the joy could be in reconnecting with these parts of yourself, remembering your mastery, rediscovering some of your tools and your wisdom and things that you had that you didn't know how to make the most of. Well, 2020 is really showing us more of who we are and what we can do individually and collectively. So as the year continues on, we are going to have some more big astrology. The year isn't over yet. We're going to have some more big waves that we'll be riding. And yet, please know that the long-term trajectory of all this is to bring us to a very beautiful place. More of your own dreams, more of your own joys, understanding more of who you are. Because one thing that's been very clear about 2020 is how we've had to be in our own energy fields, right? We're in quarantine, we're isolated, and so we're in our own energy, in our own auras, in our own minds, in our own hearts, and we're getting to the heart of what we're about and what we want in our lives and what really matters, what really, really matters, where you could have thought certain things were important to you. And as this year maybe cleared those things away, you came into some new truths, some higher knowings, and some truer understandings of what's possible in your life. And I hope that 2020 is gifting you with some of these messages and some of these understandings. So just know that we were made for these times. We are made to keep going, to stay strong, to continue to evolve and honor our mastery, and to look at what is within you that is really giving birth at this time. And that alone could be a very strong motivator for what you're deciding and where you want to go next in your life. So if you want to join me, I do more energy updates on my weekly astrology podcast. Otherwise, I am grateful for your time this evening. Thank you for having me, and I hope this was a valuable reminder of what is unfolding now in the higher realms and how you can always tap into that. You can always go higher, and you can always trust yourself more. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. And for more about Molly McCord, here is how you can reach her. I love her website, www.consciouscoolchick.com. Isn't that wonderful? Consciouscoolchick.com. Or you can also read about her or find out more by going to Molly McCord online. So thank you. So as those of you who watch our show know, we always have some comedy, sometimes some magic. And before we get to our keynote speaker, Charles Eisenstein, we're going to show the first of several J.P. Sears videos. Throughout the night, we're going to show some J.P. Sears videos. And so again, you know, J.P., I'm sure most of you probably know him. And this first video, he like covers it all. It's pretty amazing. He actually did it a while ago. And again, we're not making any kind of a political statement where he makes fun of certain things. We're not saying that those things are good, that they're right, that they're wrong. We're just learning to kind of laugh at all of this. So here we go. This is what J.P. Sears has to say about the Illuminati. And I love the whole part that he's like hiding in the bathtub. That kind of like sums it up, doesn't it? Anyway, let's have some fun with J.P.
The world's falling apart lately. It's pretty clear that we're in the process of being completely taken over by the Illuminati, and the situation's escalating fast.
First I gotta tell you the truth.
Who are the Illuminati? Only a power-hungry secret society intent on world domination through establishing a new world order. They control all the governments, the banking system, and mass media. They're also a satanic cult. They're not good guys, these ones. Right now, they're making big-time moves in the U.S. government. They've always run the U.S. The Illuminati was founded in 1776, the exact year the U.S. was founded. Here's how they work. The 13 most powerful families in the world, including the Rockefellers, Kennedys, and Rothschilds, are all bloodlines of the Illuminati. And the banks, government, CIA, KGB, NSA, they're all designed to serve and support the 13 families and their Illuminati agendas. Don't believe me? Type in the word Illuminati backwards into your browser. It takes you right to the NSA site. You can see the signs and symbols of the Illuminati everywhere, if you just know how to see what there is to see. The 6 is everywhere you look, which represents the 666, the number of the beast. Are people just placing their index finger and opposable thumb comfortably together, taking advantage of their natural range of motion? Absolutely not. They're secretly, in a not-so-secret kind of way, promoting their Illuminati involvement while brainwashing you to be under their spell. The pyramid, oftentimes displayed as an inverted pyramid for extra covert expression. The large base represents all the little people at the bottom. The capstone represents the 0.001% ruling at the top. The all-seeing eye represents they're always watching you. You think you're watching me, but they're watching you watch me. I've done some research where I've analyzed pictures of Donald Trump under close scientific scrutiny. What did I find? He too has an eye. Then I overlaid a triangle on top of his eye. What did that show me? He's always sporting the Illuminati all-seeing eye. He's a crossbreed. He doesn't even know he's one of them. What's a crossbreed? Exactly. Once you take your blinders off and start learning about who the Illuminati are, guess what? You still don't know who they really are. There's more to them than meets the eye. There's actually a reptilian race behind the Illuminati. David Icke has proven there's a reptilian race driving the Illuminati through the undisputable fact that he believes it. I'm surprised they haven't killed him yet. See, the reptilians' main purpose is to enslave humankind because they feed off the power of having control over oppressed people. All the world leaders, Oscar-winning actors, Grammy-winning musicians are a part of it. They're all reptilian humanoids trying to enslave you. The Illuminati manipulate human consciousness from the moon, obviously, which isn't a moon, it's a hollowed out planetoid. I haven't slept for 11 days. It's actually how I break out of the shape-shifting lizard mind control tactics. The reptilians on Earth have been breeding with humans, altering human DNA. And this makes it so humans can't use the full capacity of our brains, making it easier for them to enslave us. And once they started breeding, the reptiles took control of the planet. According to Ike, according to me, there's two types of reptiles, full-bloods and crossbreeds. The full-bloods are reptiles not wearing any human disguise. They merely emanate a vibration altering your mind, making you think you're seeing a human when you're looking at them, even though you're staring at a bare-ass reptile. And then there's crossbreeds. Crossbreeds aren't always aware that they're reptiles and can actually think they're human. They're controlled by the full-blooded reptiles in the lower fourth dimension to push forward the New World Order. Does that answer your question about Trump? They've created a global prison that people aren't even aware of. The best way to keep people in prison is to keep them in a prison that they don't know they're in. Try to get out of it. You can't, because you don't know you're in it, even though I just told you you're in it. These aren't conspiracy theories. They're just blatant facts. They'll be bringing society as we know it to an end. They'll keep sipping off the rest of the power from we the little people. And they'll keep creating mass hysteria because that makes people easier to control. Then imagine them cutting you off from the supply of food, water, electrical. That's what they're in the process of doing to you right now. There are some sensible steps you can take to keep the Illuminati from enslaving you. Take all your money out of banks and only pay cash for things. And then even better, convert all your cash into gold. This will keep you completely out of the banking system. And turn off all mass media. That's nothing but reptilian mind control propaganda. And for God's sakes, take your kids out of public schools. Their core curriculum is rooted in New World Order brainwashing. And store food and water. You'll want at least a 3-year supply. Earlier today, I dug a 4-foot deep by 4-foot wide hole in my backyard and filled it up with food and water. Then I buried it so no one would find it. Then I had a huge pile of dirt left over. I buried that too. You want to hide all the evidence that you have supplies, otherwise you're the first one your neighbors come after once the Illuminati strangulate the food and water supply. And bury guns in your backyard. You'll need those to shoot your neighbors in the face when they inevitably find out about your food and water stockpile and come after it. And lastly, educate your friends and family. Not only will they be glad to hear from you about how the Illuminati are in the process of a world takeover, but they'll definitely change their perspective of the world based on what you tell them. They think you were crazy if you didn't share all this with them. And most important, you'll want to order a huge stockpile of my new book, and then hide behind it.
And they have come to enslave us, but we will stand.
You're muted, Scott.
Thank you.
Yep.
See, I think the Illuminati is trying to stop me from sharing this critical information, and they're muting me. But they muted me by me thinking that I wasn't muted. So maybe I'm like one of the crossbreed ones. Wow. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Deborah.
It is so important to laugh at ourselves and what we think and what we're hearing and not take it all seriously, even though it is really serious. So I just love that video of JP Sears. Thank you so much, JP, for keeping us laughing at all this that's being revealed now. And I am so happy to present this next presenter and to have him on the show presenting this next important topic. I consider Charles Eisenstein to be a voice for us all. He has a way of looking into philosophy, into the history of human civilization, into economics, spirituality, the ecological movement, and looking at the new paradigm that's evolving now and giving us a viewpoint of how a new way we can think, a new way we can be, in a way that we go, yeah, that's how I want to think. That's what I really think. And he moves the culture forward. He is a prominent author. He has a book well known, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. According to Einstein's, global culture is immersed in a destructive story of separation. And one of Charles Main's goals is to present an alternative story of inner being. He draws his ideas from Eastern philosophy, spiritual teachings, and from the indigenous peoples. And he's an advocate of the gift economy, and which he makes a lot of his work free on his website, which we're going to be posting for you. So thank you so much, Charles, for coming on this show, especially at this important time in your life and this important show, an important time for everyone. Charles Eisenstein.
Well, thank you, Deborah. Can people hear me? Little thumbs up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, I see that. Yeah, that was a funny video we just saw. What he's really describing. So he's, JP Sears is kind of presenting a cartoon version of it to make us laugh, and also to offer us a step back to look at, even if you believe in what he's referring to, also to like see that belief from the perspective of how ridiculous it also is at the same time. But really the way I see all of that stuff is that it is a mythology complete with a world story, with monsters and gods. It's a description of why the world is the way that it is. And it gives, and a mythology doesn't have to be factually true in order to carry truth. And one of these truths that it carries, that the idea that the Illuminati are in charge of, that they direct the CIA and the FBI and the KGB and the WTF and the OMG from behind the scenes, that one of the truths that inhabits that myth is that there is something about the workings of the world that we do not understand. And that in some sense, whether it is reptilian aliens or something else, that there is an unfriendly power in control of the world. Because if it were not the case, then why would the world be in such a state? The mind wants an explanation. And part of the story, part of the deeper mythology that we live in, that immerses our whole culture, is that you can identify a cause and then control that cause for any situation that we face. That is actually a product of Newtonian physics. When things happen, it's because a force is being exerted. So what is this force that's orchestrating the world? And so some people will go to what we call conspiracy theories. Other people might say, oh, it's global capitalism, it's racism, it's white supremacy. There's many different articulations of this truth that is seeking expression. And in my view, the power behind the scenes is not a conscious agency at all, but it is, in fact, the mythology. It is the story of separation that in part tells us that progress, human progress, comes through exerting better and better control upon the world to become its lords and masters. Why would you think that? Well, for one thing, you would think that if the world itself did not possess an innate intelligence, an innate purpose, but that we have to impose it upon the world. Otherwise, we're at the mercy of random forces. So we have this deep civilizational story that progress equals better and better control, for example, through technology. And that essentially puts us in a war against the world. And this is why a news story is really a peace story. And that's why I was so happy to see the subtitle, A Global Peace Tribe. Peace is not just not taking sides, but it is an active principle that seeks to understand what is the totality of cause that generates those that we see as enemies. Because it's so much, and this is another piece of I wasn't going to talk about the conspiracy thing, but it was there. So this is one of the comforting things about an Illuminati New World Order conspiracy theory is that it identifies an enemy. It makes the problem theoretically controllable. At least we kind of know what to do. There's something to fight. This is not actually what we need to navigate troubled times that we are in, because that's an old pattern that will produce the old results. And we see what's happening with polarization of our society. Each side identifies the bad guy as the other side. They both agree on that. They just disagree on everything else, but they both agree that the problem are those ignorant people, those horrible people, those closed-minded people, those corrupt people. And the solution, they agree on that too. It's to prevail in this tug of war between right and left. But what happens in the tug of war is the marker that's in the middle of the rope moves a little bit this way and a little bit that way and a little bit this way. And then you're like, oh, well, our side has to pull harder and then we'll win the tug of war. Not realizing that the solutions, I would even say the initiation that wants to happen today is not on that rope at all. It lies outside the bounds of what we already know, how we already think change works in the world, what we even think is real. And we're seeing a breakdown in reality itself. This is what's happened with COVID-19. Features of the world that had seemed unchangeable and permanent dissolved almost overnight. And the panic has driven the bulk of society even deeper into the old story, deeper into orthodoxy, deeper into the program of control. But that's a stage. It's a stage that's before the stage of surrender to the unknowing. And that, and Sherry mentioned this is a very good thing, because it is only through the process of unknowing and unlearning what we thought we knew that we can arrive at genuinely new knowledge. To do that, there's a sacrifice that's required. The sacrifices of what we think we know, maybe even who we think we are. It's well known in mythology that to cross the boundary to another world, the boatman, Charon, must be given his coin. The guardian at the threshold must accept his payment before you can cross. And here the payment is our certainty, our being right, our being smart, our knowing. When we let go of that, then actually all of the world's problems are very easy to solve. If you let in the forbidden realms, the denizens of these forbidden realms, from regenerative agriculture to holistic medicine to, I'm sure many people on this program have had personal experiences that are outside the bounds of official reality, but they're not let in. So this expansion of consciousness that we need on a collective level that brings in all of the miracle technologies that are not about controlling the world, but they're about tapping into a higher principle of organization. Let's all of those in. Let's in the capacities of human beings and human nature, what human nature becomes when we are in the spirit of the gift. And also let's in the horrible things that and I think we'll probably hear about some of these shadow realms. J.P. Sears was making fun of one of them, but maybe some of the conspiracies are true. How do you know? They disturb reality, so we shut them out. They can't all be true because they actually contradict each other. Is it a flat Earth? Is it a hollow Earth? Is it whatever other Earth? So they can't all be true. But perhaps what we as a collective think we know is not entirely true either. And so we're standing at the precipice of this void that can be really scary. But there's another side to it. So I was supposed to speak for 12 minutes, and I'm not sure if that's finished yet. Let me see if there's one more thing to say. Yeah, let's quickly return to the principle of peace. And the other sacrifice, which is the sacrifice of winning, the sacrifice of being proven that you were right all along, of being vindicated. Actually, most people, probably every person, is going to actually experience the opposite. That I was profoundly wrong about something this whole time. And are you willing to make that sacrifice and to accept that truth if that is what it takes? That's called humility. And I'm not trying to exhort you to adopt humility, but just to alert you to its necessity. And let's see what happens with that. Yeah, so thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you. You know, we all have had those moments where something we really believed turned out not to be true. For many of us as children, it was when we first learned that Santa Claus wasn't what we thought, or the Easter Bunny, or the Tooth Fairy. Yeah.
Santa Claus is real.
Charles, I asked you not to present any personal opinions on this show. But you know what's interesting? How many people out there, when I even brought up the pain of Santa Claus not being real, I bet that was a painful moment for many of us. I can remember arguing, with the big kid. I don't even remember his name, but some older kid. Santa Claus is fake. And I was arguing valiantly for, Santa Claus, right? And so there it is. There's an example of something that maybe many of us can relate to. Sharia, if you're here, we're going to have iStar on next, and you were going to introduce them, but there you are. Thank you again, Charles. Thank you so much. And blessings to you and your family in this precious time.
Yeah, thank you.
Sharia, take it away.
Thank you. iStar is a dynamic duo from Appalachia that do music called folk hop, and it's their own special blend of music that from all their years of being independent musicians. And finally, as a couple, they've also come together to provide us with this really awesome, powerful music, which also has a social mission and always wanting to uplift, inspire, disclose, and bring more truth and light to the world. So thank you and welcome.
Hey, everybody. So nice to be here. It's a lovely night in Asheville. And, this year, as with everybody, has surprised me with the intensity that we've constantly been faced with, whether it's issues of a global pandemic or ongoing racism and police brutality, and the cries of humans around the world to birth this vision where more or less it works out for most people, and idealistically thinking, maybe even everybody, we could create that. So this year I think we've found so much solace and grounding in music, of course, but also getting outside and being with nature and letting nature regulate us and train us back into those more grounded frequencies and where we can remember who we are and tap into our heart power. So we got a song tonight. It's called Root Down, Bless Up. Just for a moment, let's imagine that we're connected to the earth beneath our feet and to the cosmos above us. Root down, deep beneath the bedrock, bless up, let it all
your sweet spot. Bless up, don't stop, let it all root down deep beneath the bedrock. Bless up, don't stop, let it all go, let it all come, let it all go.
Lifting every stone upon this life track. It all adds up to one step, you do the right path. No one is typecast, but might be challenging to find a bright path. As you spread wings with sonic boom and a bright flash. Somewhere between letting go and feeling like you might crash. There's an altitude, a steady move, a ready move, a tight grasp, I right fast. Any dude, sight backslash them to my footfalls. Stood tall in the heavy rains, with calls and oversights. Straight up tangled webs, withstood a cobra's fight. Enthralled by the hand of guidance, turn the silence up until it's deafening. Letting in the solvents, rinsing out the sediments. Genuine evolution of the specimen. Down blessing, I'll be my daily regimen. Down blessing, I'll be my daily regimen. Down bless up, be my daily. Down deep beneath the bedrock. Bless up, let it all go. Move down deep into your sweet spot. Bless up, don't stop, let it all go. Move down deep beneath the bedrock. Bless up, don't stop, let it all go, let it all come, let it all go. Look down. Sensing every blade of grass beneath my toe tips. In the garden catching scents of rose hips. Eternal sunshine, mind spotless. Soft focus, slow kiss me and the goddess. Through time's progress, don't notice. I hold this space as if I'm silently eroding. Composing states of wild ecstasy. This portal's open, we step through effortlessly. Footpath connect us cosmically, entering free. Cross the rainbow bridge, pedestrian toll, paid in full. Equestrian bull, dressed in gold, made from wool. Mystical matador, poet veins the bull. Faithful steps, graceful quest, initiation into these mysteries of consciousness and creation. Fire vine moving, indescribable equation. Blaring eloquence with these hearts beat innovation. Soaring past illusion like the wise old raven. Move down deep beneath the bedrock. Bless up, let it all go. Move down deep into your sweet spot. Bless up, don't stop, let it all go. Move down deep beneath the bedrock. Bless up, don't stop, let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Move down just a bless up, just a move down, just a bless up, just a move down, just a bless up, just move down, bless up, down, bless up. Let it all come, let it all go, let it all come, like the river flow. Let it all go, let it all come, let it all go, like the river run. Let it all come, let it all go, let it all come, like the river flow. Let it all go, let it all come, let it all go. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and we shall wear the starry crown. Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, children, let's go down, come on down. Oh, children, let's go down to the river to pray.
That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna they're gonna be coming back and doing another song for us in the second half of the show. but I just want to let everybody know that you can find out all about them by going to istarvision.com. That's ISTARVISION, istarvision.com. They've got a new album out, Cycles. Let's get it. Let's all get the new album. Support them and the children and the kitty cat and the dog that we met earlier today. Thanks for being on the show. Looking forward to hearing your song this afternoon. Thank you. Or this afternoon, later today. Oh boy. So, we are certainly grateful for the many blessings in our life, but a lot of people are going through hard times. There's massive, massive fires taking place through the Bay Area. There are two massive wildfires that have been happening the last 10 days, and they are now the second and third largest wildfire in the entire history of California. And they're both happening simultaneously, as well as other fires. What happened was there was a very rare thunder and lightning storm. It was dry lightning. And the people who study these things said that there were over 20,000 lightning strikes that hit the Bay Area. I guess conspiracy theorists that are not fond of San Francisco Bay Area politics might have a theory about it, God smiting us down. But nevertheless, it started over 400 fires, several of which became massive. So it's been a really tough time. And actually, I was evacuated and I still haven't even gone home yet, although I am now available to go back home. My house was not really threatened, but many people's homes have gone down, including even the beloved musician Shimsai, who I'm sure many of you know. He lost his home. So we have a GoFundMe that Deb talked about at the beginning of the show, and we really want to encourage you to please be very, very generous. We're supporting two organizations today. We're supporting Peers, Fred Burke's organization, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But we also are going to be supporting our dear friends who lost the Sufi Center. And we have with us today Ibrahim, who is going to share with us a little bit more. And Deborah, would you please introduce Ibrahim for us?
Yeah, definitely. Very happy to introduce Ibrahim Jaffe. He's a master healer, teacher within the Sufi tradition, and he studied and traveled worldwide, advanced healing energy and etheric approach to diagnostic and healing of illnesses. And he's helped many patients. But why we invited him here today is because he was one of the founding members of this Sufi community that's up in Northern California. And the Sufi community did get burned to the ground. They're also a resource of helping people in the area that have been compromised. So we'd like him to come on and tell us a little bit about this community. And our GoFundMe is going to support him. And I'm going to put the GoFundMe link in the chat room so that you can, while he's speaking, help support that. Or you can also go to GoFundMe and type in Global Peace Tribe and you can find us there. But now I'd like to introduce Ibrahim Jaffe. Thank you for coming on with us.
It's my pleasure to be here with all of you. I hope you can all hear me okay. Okay, good. Yeah, we had a Sufi center, which you're seeing a picture of now, which was our founding center in the Napa Valley. This was very, very holy land. We believe that it was one of the places that one of the original prophets that went to the Indian tribes thousands and thousands of years ago was buried on this property. And we believe that because those of us that are kind of aware of energy had seen, this beautiful white light coming out of the ground and coming out of the springs, which are usually the sign of this type of thing. So because of that, we purchased the property in 1998, I believe it was. We restored those buildings, which at that time had been uninhabited for over 100 years, had mostly fallen down. And we built the Sufi Center there with the idea of being able to kind of tap into that prophetic light and be able to help people to walk back into the presence of the divine. Unfortunately, over the last, 15 years, we've had over 6 fires that have moved through the Napa Valley. Each one of them missed our property, thank God. However, this last one, this complex of dry lightning, hitting the very dry Napa Valley, which had temperatures over 100 degrees consistently, caused a very, very hot fire. You can see this was actually our main building here that was literally burnt to ashes. You can see there isn't even, the only thing that's left is really the rock and some of the roofing material that was metal, but everything else burned to ash. I've never seen such a hot fire before. And it was very, very quick. It happened really quickly. We thought we were fine. And then all of a sudden the wind changed. And next thing we knew, the facility came down. This is the other hotel building. It had, altogether, we had 50 rooms. They're all gone. And then of course our caretaker's house, which will be the next picture you see, was also taken as well. So we have a number of beloveds. There's the 3 buildings. You can see them all. We have a number of beloveds that are all homeless. They've lost everything. We have had quite a few people who are displaced, and they're staying at hotels or friends' houses or wherever they can find. We're trying to give them what they need. We are trying to raise about $12,000 for those people. So if people can give anything at all, we'd be really grateful for it. If you don't know anything about the Sufis, we are a mystical branch of Islam. We are the ones that are trying to bring peace. We're trying to stop all the things going on, both with the fanatical side of things and also with the more conservative side. We're really about love, and we're trying to bring the love back both into the outer exoteric sides of things, but also in the inner dimension of things. So we're a mystical path to unity with God, enlightenment, oneness, and change happens, and your help would be very, very greatly appreciated. So thank you all very much. And I thank Saturday Night Alive and all the members here for inviting me on. And I really appreciate the love that you sent to me. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for coming on and being with us. And actually, we're going to lead, we're going to do our prayer and meditation. We always do a prayer and a meditation. We're going to do that in just a moment. But I want to, again, just really ask everybody, please be generous. Go to our GoFundMe so that we can really, help support the center and so many of the people that were left homeless from the center. So your help, your support is really needed. And one of the things that I do on this show is later on in the show, I give thanks to all the people who donate. So whether you donate $10 or $1,000, we give thanks. We thank Tom and Jerry and whoever comes in and donates. So, and if you don't want your name mentioned, you can just put it in as anonymous. But please, please, please be generous. And I'm actually going to be the person leading the prayer and the meditation today. And it was something I requested because this is such a powerful time, both the combination of what is happening with the fires and what's going on in our world. So many people are struggling because I run Love Coach Academy and I coach people and I coach my coaches. So many families, so many people are struggling. And so I just want to acknowledge the people that are feeling alone, the people that are in relationship challenges, the people that are in economic hardship because of all the tremendous change because of COVID and the pandemic and what's happening. Now the fires for people all throughout California, and people who are actually getting sick, people who are dying. I think we're at 175,000 Americans that have died from COVID. So it's a very challenging and difficult time. So I'd like to just ask all of us to get comfortable. Appreciate all of you who are at home watching, whether you're watching on Zoom or Unify or Love Coach Academy or Facebook. Let's close our eyes. Let's take some deep breaths together. And invite all of us to feel our connection to the earth. Perhaps even bring your attention to the soles of your feet, to your root chakra, and feel your connection to Mother Earth. whatever your connection might be. I want to remind all of us that when we're feeling alone, it's a beautiful thing, at least I like to do this, to remember gravity. And I like to imagine that at all times, the earth is holding me, or else I'd float up into space. I'm always being held, all the time, always. And that brings me comfort in moments that I might be feeling alone or disconnected. And so let's give thanks to Mother Earth for holding us and for providing us with so much, these beautiful body temples that are so remarkable. The air that we're breathing, the food that we eat, the water that we drink, this experience of life itself. Thank you, Mother Earth. And may we also pray for those people who don't have food or shelter, those who are struggling to breathe. When people suffer from COVID, they can't breathe. So we give thanks for breath, and we pray for those who are struggling with breath. And we remember what probably all of us have watched, that terrible murder of a man who couldn't breathe because a police officer who's supposed to protect wouldn't lift his knee off of his neck. So again, we give thanks for breath. And we pray for those who cannot breathe. And we pray for those that are oppressed. And we pray that truly at this time, social justice, economic justice, racial justice will emerge in this new world that we hopefully will be creating together. I invite us to bring our attention up, up, up to our crown chakra and to whatever you imagine your relationship to be to that which has 1,000 names. God, source, higher self, higher power, whatever you call it, however you imagine it. Just taking a moment to feel that connection, honor that connection. If you have faith, being grateful that you have faith. And if you are struggling with faith, may we all pray for clarity and genuine, authentic faith for each individual to experience in their own unique and perfect way. Maximum grace for all beings everywhere to have faith, to have a connection that's real for them to that which is imagining all of this. And finally, I'd like to ask us to place our hands on our heart and to feel your heartbeat. And I'm going to just share something that I like to imagine. I like to imagine that Mother Earth, and I like to call God or higher self Father Sky. So I imagine that Father Sky and Mother Earth are making love inside each of our hearts. As you feel that heartbeat, what if every heartbeat from your first to your last is a stroke of divine union between Mother Earth and Father Sky? What if your life is that sacred, that precious? For I believe that it is. I believe that each and every one of us has a very sacred opportunity to learn lessons of love, even when things are scary or confusing, for us to find that love within ourselves and then find love for others. So let's thank our precious hearts for beating, for the courage to live amidst all the challenges of this world. and opening our eyes, looking at each other, imagining all of you out there, all of us. I just want to close by reminding that we are the imaginal selves. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And this is the time we've all been preparing for. So let's choose love. Even when somebody is coming at us with a completely different belief system and we're thinking that's crazy, can we find compassion for why they're choosing to believe that, why that's important to them? Let's be compassionate. Let's be loving. And thank you, everyone watching, because you're all precious. Namaste.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome Samuel J. now. Samuel's a very innovative, beautiful, touching musician who comes to us from Cornwall in the south of the UK. And he not only...
Greetings, everyone. Beautiful
Yeah.
words.
Thank
Wow, I went quite deep into that prayer. And very honored to be here. What a moment. What a moment to be here in this life. And seeing so much potential for creation in the world, and really seeing this as a big opportunity to be guided to a place where we are, feeling empowered to really become the vision, that we want to see in the world. So, yeah, love is the answer right there. I'm gonna play a song called Angel Song that I've played in all kinds of different places around the world, and felt like the right song to follow that prayer. And yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. In fact, could I get a thumbs up from one of the members of the board?
Sounds great.
You guys are all good. Sweet. All right. Hey, hey. Oh, oh, oh. The Lord. Oh, now it's all around. Yeah. Up high, high, oh no, it's buried in the crowd. That same love, the seed once planted in you. That same love, seed once invested in you. So come now, angel. All night down, up high, oh no, can you feel the circle around? Those angels, can you see? Are the angels in you? Oh, telling me, hey, I'm flying back round in time. Nothing ever really dies. Circle around in time. The truth now that's all around. Up high, is buried in the ground. That's ain't true. Seed falls planted in you. That's ain't true. The seed once invested in you. Come now, angel. Oh, now over down. How high, oh, now you so now, yeah. Those angels you see at the heavens in you, the angel flying back round in time. It's nothing, nothing ever really done. Just shape shifting with time. Just shape shifting with time. Nothing ever really dies. Feel the call at a moment. Your whole life is the gifting of your life. I come round angel. Oh, down. My high, maybe we can go sing something wherever you are in the world. Sing your own version of that, however it comes out. Doesn't matter. Sing for peace. If you're looking for an angel in your life, just look inside you. Thank you, everyone. Blessings to you all.
Thank you so much, Samuel J. He's going to come back also and give us another musical offering. And you can learn more about him by going to samjmusic.com. That's SAMJMUSIC, samjmusic.com. Wow, look at all those people he's playing at. That's back in the day, huh? But that's how many people, a lot more than that actually, are listening to you right now. So that's the magic of kind of this new way of reaching people. All right, it's my pleasure to turn it back over to Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And it's my pleasure now to introduce an incredible woman, Renaissance woman, multi-talented, and this is Chireya Dharma. And she is someone who's our host and has helped us create this show, but she has so many other talents. She's an advanced energy clearing teacher, healer, author. She's combined that with manifesting mastery. She does a semi-regular podcast called Divine Love Wisdom Experience that now has over 50 episodes. She's also created Anchor the Dream Experience. She is a manifesting mastery coach and teacher since 2005. And she's very passionate about the topic that we have here tonight and has done a lot of her own work in studying and research. and has a lot to share about this topic and how to presence it. So we wanted to give her the time to share her heart, her wisdom, and her soul. Shreya Darba.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and among good company. Someone asked in the chat earlier, I'm going to sort of start off this talk with this topic here. How do you protect yourself and stay positive when others around you are being negative? And this is very related to the topic that we have going here tonight, because when people disagree strongly and have different belief structures, they can get very triggered when trying to communicate about it. And there's lots of other reasons why negativity may be arising and has arisen in our lifetimes and hasn't settled down yet in every instance in life. I will say that as we practice the tools and techniques of love and higher consciousness, it does tend to settle down, but we will never probably in this lifetime not have an emotional charge ever, not be triggered ever. And we may not ever be completely free of what we call negativity. However, those who are fully enlightened, those enlightened masters may display those characteristics, and we can look up to them as guides. And in the meantime, what we can do is embody the energy ourselves, practice daily a high enough consciousness that it creates a bit of a buffer to our nervous system. So I would say that the first most important thing in dealing with negativity in order to transcend challenging and non-positive situations in this time is to have a daily practice. And that daily practice would be one of many possible things, but really we can know to do something, but actually doing it in our day and building it into our day is a whole different thing altogether. It's not enough to know how to do an energy clearing for yourself. It's not enough to know how to put light around yourself and protect yourself from any of that negative energy. You have to actually do it. And protecting yourself with a buffer of light and love sets your mind thinking in a new direction. And all of our thoughts, like some of our speakers have talked about today, Charles and Sherry, and I'm sure others will probably bring it up, our thoughts are creative. Whether those thoughts are about something in the news or about how our day is going to be or about how a relationship is going or looking at the good stuff or looking at the bad stuff, we're going to get more of whatever we look for and look at. And this is part of the tricky navigating skill that we need to really start having ownership of during these times, especially because we can go down certain rabbit holes and get a lot of information which is quite negative. How do you protect your mind from absorbing that, reacting to it, and getting into fear about it? Again, it starts with that daily practice, and then with practices that you can do moment to moment, day by day, by cultivating the awareness of how we feel. Because when our feeling body starts going south, that's when we know to take a pause and to align with the higher consciousness in whatever way we do it. And there's multiples of ways to do this. And if someone is being especially negative in our space, what I have found to be especially useful is to imagine that person as an innocent little child, and to imagine that person with a huge smile on their face, and that they are happy and fulfilled, they feel loved, they feel cherished. Because at the end of the day, that's what everyone really wants to feel. And for some reason, that person who's being negative in your space, whether they're attacking you about your beliefs or whether they're mad about a current world situation and causing havoc in the home or whatever it is, they are going to, be putting that energy off. But if you can take a moment, you can help yourself stay calm and not take it as an attack by seeing the innocence in them. And you can even imagine a beautiful pink light all around them while you're interacting with them. And I, in my younger years, learned that in a very special way because there was someone in my life who was making me very angry and who didn't agree with me and didn't believe what I believed and thought that I was a little kooky. Imagine that. and also had his own very strong beliefs and opinions and would impose them on me. And at first I became very mad, but after a while, when I started practicing this, I literally had heaven open to me. I was about to be so mad at this person for being so different and so mean, really, to me is what it felt like, that I was about to bust a spiritual gut or something. And literally, source and angels, God, whatever you want to call it, opened heaven to me. And I felt the eternal presence of unconditional love. And it was so profound. It was so shattering to my what I had been doing out here in the world. And I said, oh my God, I almost forgot. I remember now. I remember. Please forgive me. And from that moment forward, I began just imagining love surrounding this person in the form of pink light. And I imagined him with a big smile on his face as a little cute 4-year-old. And that allowed me to shift my consciousness. So I was no longer in reaction to what he was doing. And can you imagine doing this to the whole world or for the whole world? If there is a situation in the world that is bothering you and that feels highly negative, what if you could bathe it in pink light and imagine a perfect outcome for that scenario and that situation? What if you could say to yourself, everything's going to turn out perfectly. I have no idea how, but this is what I'm going to think. I'm going to think that all the challenges in our world are going to somehow lead to a higher positive outcome. Well, what's happening when you do that? Well, for starters, and very importantly, you personally are going to feel better. And not only that, you're leveraging the power of your consciousness to imagine and feel as if a new possibility is real. And so instead of putting your attention on the negative scenario, which you may need to do if you need to get out of harm's way, if you need to analyze something, if you need to really comprehend what's going on, but then we need to learn how to shift our focus and focus on what it is we'd like to see instead. Focus on the possibility that there may be a higher outcome. Focus on the beautiful roses across the way if that's all you got right then in that moment. It's better than allowing yourself to drop in deeper and deeper into that fear. And then from that new renewed focus, you are also sending more positive thought forms and more of that healing love out into the atmosphere of planet Earth, and others will be able to more easily pick up on it. And I know that this may sound simple and it may not feel easy in practice, and that's okay because practice makes perfect. And what if a lot of what was going on here on the planet at this time was a practice ground? What if it's a practice ground for manifestors and reality creators who need to learn how to focus your consciousness and focus your thoughts? And what if some of this stuff was popping up, even if it wasn't necessarily by design that way? What if it ended up actually being an opportunity? See what I'm doing here? I'm pivoting and I'm shifting. Maybe these negative things create an opportunity for us to pivot and shift our focus and learn how to be masters of our thoughts and masters of our imagination and masters of our consciousness. Because guess what, folks? No matter what's really going on behind the scene, the thing that's going to change the world and bring us into the new day is that consciousness, that awareness, and those acts of love, those acts of focusing our attention towards what we desire, being in that, reveling in it, living in it, having faith that as we do that, this new dawn and this new day will come through this storm. This, I believe, is the master key, and I invite all of us to practice it daily. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharia, for those really wise words. And yes, it's really important for us all to have practices that we do, practices to feel connected. I want to thank all the people that have been donating to us. It's really quite remarkable. And so I'm going to give some thanks to people right now. There's a lot of people that have donated. So I'm going to give it a go. And actually, while I do that, I'm going to pull up our GoFundMe again so that while you're listening to me, thank you, everybody. You're reminded of where you can go for those of you who haven't donated yet. So there we go. I want to thank Ilona, Kim, Sam, Carol, Gabrielle, Susan, Michael, Lauren, Noel, Teresa, Dean, Christine, Joanne, Amy. Wow, another Kim, and a very significant. Thank you so much, Kim. Very significant donation there. Tarek, David, Chris, Deborah, Leslie, Terry, and Ayada. And if I mispronounced any of your names, I do apologize. Thank you so much, everybody, for your amazing donations, so we can really support the people that have really been challenged by the fires. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it over to Deborah to introduce our next speaker. Take it away, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And yes, thank you for all your donations. That love money is going to go right through us out to those people that need it with the fire. So amazing. Thank you. And now we're going to have another perspective, another angle on this topic, which is going to be very helpful. Paul Levi is a pioneer in the field of spiritual emergence. He's a wounded healer in private practice, and he assists others into awakening to the dreamlike nature of reality. He has many books. One of his books is The Quantum Revelation, a radical synthesis of science and spirituality, dispelling Wedico, breaking the curse of evil. He's also the founder of Awakening in the Dream Community in Portland, Oregon. And he's very steeped in the work of Carl C. Jung, and he's been a Tibetan Buddhist practitioner for over 35 years. So he's have a lot of tools at his access to help people and also give us a perspective on how to deal with this important topic of all the information that's coming to us now, not getting polarized and integrating it in a healthy way within our being. So thank you, Paul, for being with us. Paul Levi.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, really. Thank you. Yeah, so when I've been contemplating what in the world to talk about in during this time, I mean, it's such an over-the-top intense time. We're in the middle of a collective psychosis. And I mean, that's actually been true for a long time, but it's really coming to fruition in the sense that the shadow, both personal and archetypal, is just coming out from hiding, from underground, from in the corners, and it's right in our face. And it's kind of overwhelming. And when I thought about, well, what could I share that would be helpful, I began to contemplate, well, the real source of what's happening is in the psyche, is in our minds. And that if this were like, say we're having this collective, like this dream, which is actually what this is. This isn't sort of in a metaphoric way, kind of like a dream, but it's actually a collectively shared dream that all of us are dreaming up each moment into materialization. And if we had this dream, if this were a dream at night and we woke up and we wrote it down and we thought about it, what would it mean? What is it actually revealing to us? And I guess the part of the dream I would really focus on is this evil that's playing out in the world, and these totalitarian forces and fascism seems to be really creeping all over the globe. And if that were a major part of the dream, like if somebody came into my office and shared that dream, I would say, well, it's clear that you're not in touch with your own creative agency and power. Because what happens when we're not in touch with our creativity, we split off from it and it gets projected out, dreamed up into the world, and other people, typically the powers that be, the state, are more than happy to take our power for us. We actually offer it to them when we disassociate from it. And so, then I thought about, well, okay, here, current day, the wisdom tradition of modern times is science, and quantum physics is proven. I mean, it's actually proven that we're having a dream. I've actually finished a book about that that's out. But what it's actually showing is that the act of observation is creative, that there's nothing objective out there, that our act of observing this universe is actually influencing the universe observed, i.e. that the act of observation is creative. And that's just like a dream, that if we have a viewpoint and we change our viewpoint, you know, being that we're in a dream, a collective dream, this dream has no choice but to instantaneously shapeshift and reflect back our change in viewpoint. Because it is nothing other than our mind that we've projected out, and it's reflecting to us our own inner psyche. And so if in that dream, if we're holding a viewpoint, well, then the dream, like I was saying, is going to offer us all the evidence confirming our viewpoint. Then because now we have all the proof we need, we become even more fixed in that viewpoint that we're seeing the objective reality. And then as soon as we think we're seeing the objective reality, that what we're seeing is objective, separate from us, then being like a dream, the dream is just going to reflect that point of view and offer us all the evidence we need confirming that viewpoint ad infinitum, and we've cast a spell on ourselves. We've plugged into our genius, our creative genius, and we're holding it in a way that we've hypnotized ourselves, that we've actually entranced ourselves. So here quantum physics comes along and it's showing us, hey, wait a second, you actually moment by moment, by the act of observation, by the act of interpreting your experience of who you are and of your place in the world, you're actually having an active agency and a creative, you have unimaginable, we all do, creative power beyond our wildest dreams. But because we're unconscious of that, then we're acting it out unconsciously in a destructive way. And that's being dreamed up writ large on the world stage. And that's the collective psychosis. And the origin of that process is our own mind. Okay, so what I'm basically saying is any of us actually cracking that code in a way and seeing through that process and actualizing and plugging in to our creative agency, that we're creative beings every moment. We're creating our experience. There's no one else doing that to us. We're doing that. We're the source of our experience. When we plug into that and you connect with other people who are also plugging into that, I imagine if I were having a dream and if I had that understanding, like, you know, was having this lucidity, having the recognition, oh my God, there's nothing out there, that this is a dream, that the way that I'm observing it is actually influencing the way the universe is manifesting, and I connect with other people who are also having that realization, and we put our realization together and contemplate what is this revealing to us? And what is revealing to us is that this universe that we're in is a function of our dreaming. We are collectively dreaming up moment by moment this universe together. But because we're not in touch with you know, our shadow, both personal and archetypal, and our light and our creativity, then that creativity gets turned against us, like I've been saying, and it gets acted out destructively. And that's the source. That's the root cause. And it's also where the solution is to be found for the global crisis we find ourselves in. So what I imagine in closing is when more and more of us actually have that lucidity, have the realization that we're dreaming each other up, that we're dreaming up the whole universe, that we can connect with each other in a way that we can literally change the dream. And that's not this like woo-woo theory. That's actually grounded in science. And basically what that's saying is that we are actually being cast in the role of participating in our own evolution. And that's what this is about. And if we don't recognize that, guaranteed we're going to be fated to continue to destroy ourselves. But what's happening in the world is this, it's like this revelation. It's a living revelation. And all we need to do is have the recognition of what's being revealed to us, connect with each other, and then all bets are off. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very, very much, Paul. Really, really appreciate, what you're sharing. I'm reminded of that wonderful children's nursery rhyme. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Like you just said, life is but a dream.
Right.
And so may we all come together as these imaginal cells and really create a collective dream that is what we really want to create. And that's what I'm really hearing you say. I'm hearing a beautiful call for us to create that collective dream.
Yeah, totally.
More about Paul. And again, let's all awaken in the dream together. You can email him at paul@awakeninthedream.com. And that's, of course, his website, awakeninthedream.com. You can also find him on Facebook, paul.levy.9619. What's 9619 stand for? Is that a conspiracy thing? Is that a Illuminati number?
I have no idea. That's just this random number.
Okay, well, nothing's random. I don't know.
Right.
No, seriously, Paul, thank you so much. It was really
Sure. Yeah, totally. Thank you.
All right. It's time for a little more comedy. And one of the things that was fun this week was Sharia, Deborah, and I all watching different JP Sears videos to discuss which ones we were going to play during our show. And I got to say, the next one is my favorite. So this is kind of Scott's choice. But they're all great. They're all wonderful. Anyway, this is JP's take on how politicians are chosen.
Thank you for coming in to interview for the position.
It's a pleasure to be here, sir. I would love to be chosen as your candidate.
So, are you honest?
No.
Are you being honest when you say no?
No.
Have you ever had anyone killed?
No one that'll be missed.
What's your stance on climate change?
Are we talking through an economic perspective?
Yes.
Then what climate change?
Now, have you ever been accused of sexual harassment?
Not yet.
Have you ever sexually harassed a person?
Like, just one person?
Thank you for coming in to interview for the position.
It's a pleasure to be here, sir. I would love to be chosen as your candidate.
So, are you honest?
No.
Are you being honest when you say no?
No.
Have you ever had anyone killed?
No one that'll be missed.
What's your stance on climate change?
Are we talking through an economic perspective?
Yes.
Then what climate change?
Now, have you ever been accused of sexual harassment?
Not yet.
Have you ever sexually harassed a person?
Like, just one person?
Anyone?
Well, yeah.
If your victims ever came forward, would you be willing to deny all claims and act like their accusations are beneath your character?
I wouldn't know of any other way.
Where are you on abortion?
I've forced many of my interns to get them.
Your public stance.
Completely against them. Nothing could be more wrong. Unless you want me to be for them.
If 3 people were hanging off the edge of a cliff and you could only save one of them, who would it be? A, your wife, B, your son, or C, your own mother?
None of them. They're all replaceable.
Your thoughts on how to handle the coronavirus?
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
What's your love language?
Bribery.
What faith are you?
Christian.
Why?
It's good for my public image.
Are you a practicing Christian?
Wouldn't even know where to begin.
Have you ever done anything good in your life?
Define anything.
What would your strategy be for winning the election for our side?
Spend more money on advertising than my opponent.
If you were running and your opponent was ahead in the polls, what would you do?
Insult his character while acting noble.
Where'd you learn that strategy?
1st grade.
Is there anything else you would do?
And try to ruin his life.
Now, what makes you think you're qualified to be in office?
I'm a man, I'm old, and I'm white. And I also have no vision or leadership abilities.
Are you completely willing to let us stick our arm up your butt and use you as a puppet to further our agenda?
As long as people think I'm in charge, I'm good with that.
Is your anus pliable enough?
You can go in up to your shoulder if you need to.
When was the last time you changed your mind when you learned a better way of looking at something?
That's never happened. I've always been absolutely certain of myself.
Congratulations, you're perfect. We'd like you to run for president for our side.
Fantastic! I won't let you down. If we can win this election, it'll be an honor to have the country serve us. Do you know what's not corrupt? BlueBlox, my favorite evidence-based blue light blocking glasses. Now, if you like me, you like to feel your best, have great energy, and great mental clarity. But here's the problem. Science tells us the blue light from our screens and indoor lighting at night reduces the amount of sleep hormones that are released during our sleep. And that means we wake up the next day with less energy, less mental clarity, and a messed up hormonal system. But BlueBlox solves that problem for you. You just put on a pair in the evening and they block the harmful blue light that messes up your sleep hormones. If you want to join me in radically optimizing yourself, grab yourself a pair of BlueBlox at blueblox.com/JP, and to get 15% off because you watch my videos, just use the discount code JP.
I gotta say, I've seen that about 4 or 5 times, and it really, he's just so fast. Some of those things really crack me up. I hope you're enjoying. Let us know how you are enjoying the JP Sears videos. First time we've done it this way. All right, this is the time that we call our mid-show announcements. And it's where we again want to thank our donors, and I'll mention some of the new donors. Many more have donated since the last time I spoke, but I also want to thank our broadcast partners. We are live on Unify. We had a little bit of a bump there and missed about the first few minutes, but we are live on Unify, and we really are grateful for Unify. They're fantastic. And I want to encourage everybody to check out Unify's programming. They are carrying all sorts of wonderful things, including us most Saturday nights, so thank you. Disclosure Fest Foundation, we're actually going to be doing some work very specifically with them coming up. Deborah will tell you about that. We want to thank Global Days of Unity, Earth Dance Global, you've heard us talk about them before, and Awake TV Network. It's a wonderful new network that carries a lot of wonderful shows, so check it out. The Sign Network, John and Summer Raymer were my guests on my Straight Talk show last night. And the Sign Network helps us reach over 200 different Facebook pages and groups. And they are doing a lot of wonderful work, so check that out. Alan Steinfeld, our good buddy with New Realities TV. You've seen him as a speaker on this show. And Portal to Ascension, we really appreciate them. And again, we're going to be working with them at the end of the month, next month. And my company, Love Coach Academy. We provide 15 free online webinars every week, usually 2 or 3 a day. So check out what's happening with Love Coach Academy. We recognize there's a lot of relationship challenges right now, and we're here to support people as best as we can. And all of our shows are free. So check it out. I want to thank all the new people that have donated. Karen, Deirdre, Solana, Eric, Francis, and James. So those are the people who have donated just in the last few minutes. Thank you so very, very much. And to share a little bit more. Oh, and I have one more thing actually that I want to do. You know, we talk about all the different organizations that we have supported. I want to show you briefly because these are all great organizations and we're very, very proud of how we've cooperated with them. You know, this is about the 21st week, I think, that we've done the show. And the very first organization we supported was Grandmother Flora de Mayo, and she's going to be back on in 2 weeks. We're doing a show on Indigenous elders, and she's going to be on that show. We do a lot of support for essential food and medicine organizations like EFAM and People's Community Medics that provide really good stuff, including herbs and natural teas. You're probably all familiar with the various Meals on Wheels chapters, and we supported the San Francisco chapter. We also supported the Healing Clinic Collective. And by the way, almost all of these organizations received at least $500, and the vast majority received $1,000. The Healing Clinic Collective has done wonderful, wonderful work responding to the coronavirus recently. We supported the Sonoma Food Runners. And, you know, we also really want there to be election integrity so that that guy you just saw making the deal with the devil, we don't want him to win. We want there to be a fair election. So we supported trustvote.org. I want to thank Lori Grace for her work there. And we supported Growing Together, which helps to green schools in the neighborhood. They're a Bay Area organization. And another Bay Area organization, Fraternite Notre Dame. We also like to support individuals in our community. And Blaine Lyon is a beloved member of our community. He's a singer who, of all things, has cancer on his vocal cords. So we provided a $1,000 donation to him. And also to our beloved friend, Mariela de la Paz. She's a brilliant artist, and we had Mariela on the show. When Black Lives Matter happened, we did an entire show, Saturday Night Live, dedicated to Black voices. And my Love Coach Academy has done another 6 shows on Black Lives Matter and some of the splinter organizations like the Wall of Moms and the Ungun Sunday. And we funded the Dream Corps, founded by Van Jones. We supported the John Anthony Foundation, helps with homelessness. And honestly, probably my favorite nonprofit organization in the world is the Pachamama Alliance. I've been with Pachamama since they began. They do incredible work, helping us to change the dream. You know, Paul Levy was just talking about changing the dream, and Pachamama helps us to do that. Cure for Nepal, I noticed that Prakash has been texting today, and we supported them. And also the Zanzibar Learning for Life Foundation, these beautiful, beautiful children, really gorgeous. We did 3 nonprofit organizations when we did our Day Out of Time show, including the Foundation for the Law of Time and Planet Restoration, and also the Goodness Tour. And we actually had members of the Goodness Tour that were in the slums of the Bahamas that had been torn apart by the hurricane. And they created an entire mural during our show, started from scratch. By the end of the show, they and their people had created a mural. Food for Life is a beautiful organization we supported. A couple of weeks ago, we were so happy to have Reverend Michael on the show. And so we supported his Agape International Foundation. And then we supported Community Zambia. And they are really, really beautiful. You might have seen that. It was last week. And when we had the gentleman who's deaf and his wife translated for him, it was really beautiful, very touching. And this week, we're doing 2, Public Education and Empowerment Resource Service. And Deborah's going to tell you all about that in a moment. That's Fred Burke's organization. And Fred is one of our speakers that you're going to hear from this afternoon. And then finally, as you saw before, we really want to support the Sufi community that lost everything in the fire, including many individuals who are now homeless. And so thank you already for the incredible donations that you've made. It really means a lot to us. And to share a little bit more about Fred's organization and our upcoming season, it's my partner, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, thank you so much for all your donations, the donations when you sign up, the donations on GoFundMe, all that you give us. We turn that around and we put green love energy into the organizations. And we also use it to give you amazing shows coming up. And we're committed to do shows through September. And I'd like to share what we have coming up next week and through September.
Okay. Hold on one second, Deborah. I put up the GoFundMe for a minute there.
Oh, okay.
So let's all take one more look at the GoFundMe while I got it there. It's really easy. Just go to GoFundMe and put in Global Peace Tribe. And I will again come back and thank people that have supported us in a little bit. And now I will bring up the upcoming season. Okay, go ahead, Deborah.
Great. Next week, we are going to be co-collaborating with the Shift Network and promoting this amazing 4-day virtual festival summit and music festival called the Shift Summit and Music Festival, September 18th to 21st. And we have great presenters on: Grandmother Flor de Mayo, Phil Lane, Sandra Engerman, who is a shamanic practitioner. We'll have the founders of Shift Network, Stephen Dinan and David Haley Michu. We'll have also the founders of the Sign Network, John Raymer and Summerjoy Raymer. Philip Helmick, who is part of the Shift Network. And we're going to also have music appearances from Donna DeLore, James Twyman, and Kristen Hoffman, and also a magician illusionist, Paul Draper. And then on September 12th is going to be a very special program as we honor Indigenous wisdom as a source for deep healing and transformation in our very challenging times. We've got really incredible Indigenous elders and spokespeople of the Indigenous in our nation around the world to talk about what's going on now and how we can benefit from their wisdom. And then on September 19th, we are going to celebrate the International Day of Peace. We are going to be collaborating with a lot of organizations worldwide who are going to be hooking up and standing for creating peace. Everyone's in this high collaborative model now, which is going to be really powerful. We'll be collaborating with Shift Network, with Unity, with all our broadcast sponsors, with Unity Week, with the Sign Network, with many together. It's going to be a phenomenon. And then on the September 26th, we will be collaborating with Portal to Ascension and Disclosure Fest, and come out again with a lot of things that are being disclosed now, and some of the prominent speakers, researchers, leaders that are leading the information of revealing information. And then with your support, we plan to do a whole winter season, October, November, December, because it seems like this has really taken off. We love your comments. We love your participation. We love your support. And that's our intention, is to bring you a whole new season. And I want to now talk about peers. This show has been talking about our revealing times and all the incredible information that's coming to the surface now. We get a lot of information from our friends, YouTube here, on Facebook Messenger, about what's behind the shadow government, what's going on with COVID, all of that. How do you sort it out? How do you really know what's true and what's not? Well, we have a man, Fred Burks, who has made his life mission researching this information for years and creating a website where you can go there and you can get highly documented, solid information that he has taken the time to follow the rabbit hole down and make sure it's solid and clear on a lot of these topics. And this information is free to you. He does this as a free service by donation if people want to donate. So he is another one of our GoFundMes that will receive some of the money from your green love. And Fred, I'd love for you to speak a little bit about what you offer with your website and with your information. Thanks, Fred.
Sure, thanks, Deborah, and thanks to everyone here. Yeah, we basically, I love that you mentioned, Deborah, that we're kind of shadow dancers. So we're all about love, spreading inspiration, but we're also about educating people to the deeper realities of our world. And our sort of hallmark is that it's reliable, verifiable information. So whenever we put out information about what's really going on at the deeper levels, you can actually click on a link and see that it goes to a reliable source that reveals what's going on there. And we're doing this all from the heart and from the understanding and knowing that we are all interconnected, and we all are committed to moving beyond polarization to creating the world that we all know is possible.
Thank you, Fred.
Sure.
All right.
Come on a little bit later to even share more of his wisdom as a speaker.
All right. All right. So please keep those donations coming in. We really appreciate it. And Deborah, I think you're going to introduce our, we're coming back, more music. Time for some more music. Deborah?
Yeah. So we love to bring Diane Patterson back. And again, I just adore her. She speaks the truth. She speaks the heart. She's been on the circuit, giving her music vibes for healing for so long. I've always loved her music. I'm so happy to have her here. She's the master at what she does, and she's going to take us into another zone of love and consciousness and healing through her music. Thank you, Diane.
Much. This is a song that comes from one line that remains from an old Viking Age song. And that line is, I dreamed a dream tonight of silk and honest pay. So I took that line and I dreamed up a new reality. And often in my dreams, literally in my dreams and my life, I'm at fairs, I'm at festivals. And so I imagined that I'm at a fair a long time ago, and yet in my current creation, it's the way I want it, which is, this idea of xenophilia. It's the love of things unknown. And I think it's one of the keys for us now is that we learn to love those who are different from us and to respect each other and to be curious. I hear that old language. I hear those old time ways. I see that star map blanket. I see those tall grass days woven in your song. Can I run along beside you, woven in your song? Oh, I dreamed tonight of silk and honest pay. A traveler there at fair to trade in goods we'd made. And oh, fine things we saw, the beauty of the arts, and oh, the eyes, the skin, the voices from afar. Midsummer dance we did until the petals fell. The hands of dancers felt in mine a happy spell. The music lifted me to places none can tell. Come fruit in fall again, I'm beacon by the well. And by the well, my friend, the mother and the child can heal alive and well the husband and the wild in sacred waters where the mountain does provide. Come rain, come sun, we sing the dark into light. I dreamed a dream tonight of silk and honest pay.
Thank you,
Thank-
Diane.
I just want to remind everybody that you can go to dianepatterson.org, D-I-A-N-E, Patterson with 2 T's, dianepatterson.org, or you can find her on Facebook, Diane Patterson Music. And let's always support our artists. And Diane, just so love your music. It's just really such a beautiful eclectic mix. Thank you for blessing us with your presence today.
All the love.
All right. You know, it's still not too late for people to come into our Zoom room. I'm recognizing that, of course, the majority of people who watch our show still watches on Facebook, whether it's the Unify or Love Coach Academy. And it's not too late, even tonight, for you to come on into our Zoom room. Why would you want to do that? Well, for many reasons. First of all, when we get your email address, we will send you the replay, send you a link to all the previous shows that we've done. You know, imagine how you could just enjoy all these great shows we've been doing for the last 4 months. Well, we need to have your email to send you that link. We also have a special pre-show program that we do for our Zoom community for 30 minutes before we go live at 6, from 5:30 to 6. We have kind of a little special show that we do. And probably most of all, we have community connections. At the end of the show, the people in our Zoom room are invited to come up, just a few of them, but pretty much anybody who wants to can come up and share for a minute about what they were inspired by, what took place. And it's really fun. It's great having people come from out of the audience and join us. Also, when you do join our Zoom room email list, you're going to get gift packages from our presenters and access to all the Love Coach Academy shows. Now, they're all free on Facebook, but it's kind of hard to know which ones are happening and when. We're going to make sure that you know about all of that. So come on into our Zoom room by going to globalpeacetribe.com. That's globalpeacetribe.com, and register, and boom, you'll come on into the Zoom room. And maybe you might want to come on tonight and join us for our community connections. So hopefully some of you will do that. And with that, looking at the agenda, I'm turning it over to Sharia.
Hello again, everyone. I hope you're doing well as we progress in this awesome show. And it's my pleasure to introduce Justin Deschamps, who is a lifetime seeker of truth. And Justin has studied numerous modalities, from law to psychology to physics and spirituality. Anything he could get his hands on, basically, to get his bearings on what is going on this wacky planet we have here. And he loves to share what he's discovered. And one of the places he does that is at a website called Stillness in the Storm. And he has a vision of creating a world of holistically minded people that work together to co-create what many call different things, a new earth reality, positive, harmonious way of being. And I'm right there with you, Justin. Thank you so much. Take it away.
Well, thanks for having me, everybody. I really appreciate being here. So I'm going to talk about creating the golden age, or kingdom of heaven on earth, using law, intimacy, and trust. This is a really in-depth topic, so I'm just going to give a very brief overview. I actually spoke for about 2.5 hours in an interview the other day with somebody, so there's a lot to this. I like to go really deep when I study these things, and so there's a psychology, science, physics, spirituality, history, all sorts of things weave into this. So what is the kingdom of heaven on earth, or the golden age? Well, I'm defining it as a place where all souls can pursue their unique mission in trust with other souls. And trust means that me pursuing my mission doesn't infringe on your ability to pursue your mission, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do, as anybody's tried. And we're kind of living in that world where there's this disbalance happening. So how do we as individuals pursue our own life path without trampling on another person's life path? Well, we have these resources. I call them spiritual resources. We have time and space. We have the ability to focus on what we want to focus on. And when we focus on something, we often become better at it internally. We gain mastery. So what we want to do is we want to use honorable negotiation to form relationships with other people that allow us to honor our soul path and support their path so that everybody can have their unique soul path supported. So we're talking about kind of like tuning up the band so everybody can play together in a beautiful symphony or harmony. So in order to do this, we use honorable negotiation or nonviolent communication. And the principles of nonviolent communication and honorable negotiation, as I've defined them, can be broken down into two groups, basically, personal and interpersonal. So personally, we want to get clear on what our life path is by following our passion and being open to the truth so that we can shape and guide our dreams using truth seeking. So essentially we align ourselves with the truth. And then we want to make sure that any unrealistic dreams that often get manifested in what I call the emotional plague of isolation or loneliness can slowly be differentiated, because the more we get away from truth, the more unrealistic we become, the more difficult it is for us to harmonize together to form this golden age society. So one of the benefits that comes from this is deeper connection with others, intimacy. We get to have an inner child connection, and that forms social harmony where all of our abilities to grow and blossom and bring our missions to fruition can really come to the fore. So I've defined intimacy in 4 basic ways, but 3 of them are really the ones that we interact with on a regular basis. There's intellectual intimacy, which is the ability to share your ideas, your beliefs, your dreams, your inner world of experience, your inner world of consciousness with another person. And that, of course, requires you to be willing to hear in the reciprocal capacity. So if you're sharing, then somebody else is willing to hear and listen in authenticity, and then you are willing to do the same for them. So it creates this reciprocal relationship, this inward and outward flowing relationship of information. And when you have intellectual intimacy, then that gives rise to emotional intimacy and authenticity. We've all been in a situation before where we don't necessarily feel comfortable being ourselves, and we have to put up this mask of false emotion, this inauthentic mask. But when we learn how to share our truths and trust using honorable communication, using the laws of contracts, the 4 principles of contract, which is a very precise thing, then we can actually start to create diplomatic relationships. We can create a safe space of intimacy that blossoms intellectual intimacy, emotional intimacy, and then that gives rise often to some form of physical intimacy. So these 3 forms of intimacy together generate what I call soul intimacy, which is something that we're not necessarily all that aware of, but it's essentially the ability through the interaction of self and self, you know, the mind and the heart, and then self, our self, the ego self, we might say, with another self. We have this blending of the inner and the outer world that creates a soul dynamic. We all become soulmates of each other. And once that starts to happen, once we start to bridge the gaps and we have all these different forms of intimacy, the sense of isolation and loneliness that has been plaguing our world, I actually call it the emotional plague, is going to slowly be cured through our willing participation to work with others in trust, in diplomacy, in love, and compassion, in honesty and authenticity. And then that starts to grow a nexus that expands around the earth, which has actually started already and has really come to the fore. One of the things that's interesting is that as we deal with these challenges that are coming right now, as we deal with COVID-19, various other social challenges, all of these old dead patterns, these often addictive tendencies towards the ways of dealing with loneliness and isolation, we have to face them. But in facing them, we get to rise like a phoenix from the ashes, work together in trust and love, and really create this golden age society. And the tools I'm talking about have come from heaven, so to speak. These are these universal laws that come from the Creator or God or whomever you want to refer to it as. And that's why we bring heaven to earth. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time and your investment in these concepts. And I hope to have more time to share with you in the future. Much love.
Thank you very much, Justin. Thank you. Thank you. And, you know, for anybody who missed the beginning, I had a little chat with Justin at the beginning of our show. And so when we post the replay, you can go back and watch that initial conversation. And just so appreciating all of our speakers and all the wisdom that they're bringing to us. It's Each and every one of you is very special to us. So thank you. All right. I'm turning it back over to Deborah.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Justin. And please, everyone, go check out his website, Stillness in the Storm. It's another incredible resource, like Peers, of this information that you can go really deep with. So it's another amazing resource, and we posted that in the chat room. And now is another topic that's really critical to this whole topic that we're sharing, which is censorship, because that's where a lot of us get tripped up because we're not getting the accurate information of what's happening. And this organization, Project Censored, has been around for a long time because this issue has been going on for a long time. Mickey Huff is the director of Project Censored, and he's also the president of Media Freedom Foundation, and he's also co-editor of the annual censored book series from Seven Stories Press. So he's definitely in the thick of what's happening in the past and currently around censorship, which we all have a sense of something going on, information is manipulated, stuff gets through, doesn't get through. So we really wanted to bring someone on that was an expert on this that could give us the overview of what's going on with this. So Mickey, so happy to have you join us. Give us a sense in this topic of, in a few minutes, but they can go to your website for a lot more of what this issue is about censorship that we're dealing with now.
Well, we live in interesting times where, by the way, thank you all for being here, and it's an honor to be invited. Like all the rest of you, brevity is not a strong point of mine, but I'm just looking forward to sharing a few thoughts and ideas. Censorship is basically born of fear. And the antidote to that kind of fear isn't just banal kinds of hope or phony elixirs and slogans. It's really just trusting our inner voice, our inner compass, when we know when something is true or false. I'm going to get into a few other things there because we teach critical media literacy and critical thinking. I teach political economy and history, as well as journalism. So it's a strange confluence of these things. But I couldn't help but at least riff modestly, momentarily. The theme here on navigating unprecedented and revealing times, it says from the program, we thought 2020 would be a year of clarity, and it's turning out to be quite hazy. Well, in our recent book at Project Censored with Andy Lee Roth, you'll notice it's Censored 2020 Through the Looking Glass. And you go back to Lewis Carroll, and to quote Alice, "I can't believe that," said Alice. "Can't you?" the Queen said in a pitying tone. "Try again, draw a long breath and shut your eyes," Alice laughed. "There's no use typing, or no use trying," she said. "One can't believe impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. Well, welcome to the looking glass world, right, of contemporary politics and media in the United States, where every day powerful entities, the Mad Hatter president, from the leaders of our Congress and corporate America and the big tech sector and so forth, they all challenge us to take a deep breath, close our eyes, and believe the impossible, the world of falsehood that is erected around us. And it's up to us to pierce that bubble and go through the looking glass, down the rabbit hole, as many of you said, and try to come back out the other side with our sanity based on empirical evidence and compassion. Our vehicle at Project Censored is to champion the voices of independence and people that aren't beholden to various moneyed interests and other ideals. And their goal is mainly to tell people what's really going on in society. Often it's poets that help lead the way. And I want to do a quick riff on both the word pity, which sometimes has a negative connotation, but it's really synonymous with empathy. And I want to kind of quickly riff through this idea and come back on the other side with ways that we can look toward media, independent media, to communicate with each other and turn off corporate media and the noise machine. And we can really find each other, and we can find our way through the current situations and crises we're in. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, the great poet and publisher from City Lights, wrote a poem called Pity the Nation. Pity the nation whose people are sheep. This is from 2007, by the way. And whose shepherds misled them. Pity the nations whose leaders are liars, whose sages are silenced, and whose bigots haunt the airwaves. Pity the nation that raises not its voice except to praise conquerors and acclaim the bully as hero and aims to rule the world with force and by torture. Pity the nation that knows no other language but its own and no other culture but its own. Pity the nations whose breath is money and sleeps the sleep of the too well fed. Pity the nation, oh pity the people who allow their rights to erode and their freedoms to be washed away. My country, tears of thee, sweet land of liberty. And that's the great Lawrence Ferlinghetti. And I don't view pity as a woe is us as a society or as a people on this planet, this one planet we have, a beautiful planet, and one of multiple consciousnesses, as we've heard this evening. But pity is actually synonymous with things like empathy. And if you actually look it up and you see that, you realize that empathy is something that's really sorely lacking in our education, in our political institutions and dialogue, in our dominant top-down managed news corporate media structures. And we're not really teaching a lot of these things to each other anymore, and we're not sharing a lot of these things anymore. And that's, I think, where some of our biggest shortcomings are that create opportunities for us to fill that void through education, public media, and so on. Daniel C. Dennett, the philosopher, actually has a great riff that he works on that is literally called How to Criticize with Kindness. And to be critical is to be intellectual and curious and wanting to learn. It doesn't mean to dominate and control, and it doesn't mean to be right per se. It means that there's a desire to understand, communicate, connect, and build bridges. And Daniel Dennett gave us some really great ideas about how to not just think critically and communicate with each other compassionately, but how we also need to be critical listeners, right? And that's one of the big messages at Project Censored is who are the voices we're listening to in media, whose voices are platformed and which are not, and why. Dennett reminds us that we should attempt to re-express another person or institution's position so clearly and vividly and so fairly that other person actually is sort of, they move out of an adversarial realm, right? And media is sort of this strange binary landscape of gotcha politics and sensationalism and negativity. But we need to wrest control there, and we need to model media and journalism and communication in a way that reflects these more positive ideals that are based on empathy. And if you go in and you are able to show the person that maybe where you have disagreements and we're in these very contentious times, that you really are trying to understand what they're saying, you suddenly maybe have a new receptive audience. Doesn't mean you're going to agree, but you may actually have someone saying, gee, I wish I would have put it that way. You also want to list points of agreement with people before you start disagreeing with everything that they're doing and saying. You should try to mention anything that you're learning from these people at the same time. Right? So it's not just a no, you're wrong, I'm right, no matter what, etc. Or now it's my turn to talk because you're done. I wasn't paying attention. And finally, only when you're done doing those things should you have any words of rebuttal or criticism that add different things to what's going on to the conversation. And so journalists can do that and help us do that. And we can also be the media in many ways if we simply follow the Society of Professional Journalists' basic tenets, seek truth and report them, minimize harm, act independently, and be accountable and transparent. And in our daily lives, the things we can do is we can turn off corporate media, the noise machine, and junk food news. We can ask important questions about why people and institutions want us to think certain things or follow certain ideals. We can ask about who's newsworthy and not, and whose voices are platforms and heard and not, and help seek out and platform these other alternatives. And we can also support more solutions in constructive journalism. I realize my time is up and I want to be very mindful of that. But Lao Tzu once wrote that if we do not change direction, we may end up where we're heading. And if we don't necessarily like where we're heading as a society, we really need to take control of those reins, and we need to produce more of the things and messages we want to see. We need to work with each other more harmoniously, despite even some of our differences. And I think if we do that, the world that we all envision is not only possible, it is inevitable, rather than the dystopian one that we're constantly shown as if we're like the allegory in Plato's cave. So again, I'd like to thank all of you for inviting me here. It's a lot to pack into a short period. I'll post some links over in the chat room. And again, just thanks for everything that you're all doing, and keep doing what you're doing. Again, it's an honor to be here. Thanks so much.
Thank you very, very much, Mickey. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to go briefly to his website. And I really want to encourage everybody to go there. It's projectcensored.org. And this particular link Mickey sent me is where he repeats what he said kind of towards the end. And because he said it fast, I'm actually going to repeat it because I think it's really important. It's 5 ways to flex your media literacy muscles. I like the image that you've got there. Cut junk food news out of your media diet. And he talks about what that looks like. Follow the money. Ask who is treated as newsworthy. Resist news inflation. I really like that thought. That's really important. And they all are. And seek out and support solutions journalism. You know, so we're not just reading over and over and over all the scary hard stuff that the algorithms have determined you want to read. And, you know, they're going to keep sending you more of what they've seen that you're reading, right? They don't say, oh, well, he's really into Fox News, we're going to send him the Washington Post, right? They don't do that. So we keep getting, you know, pablum of our own consciousness. So thank you so much, Mickey, for helping us to understand all of that. projectcensored.org. All right, I think it's time for some more music. And when I was talking to the beautiful duo that is iStar today, we were talking about different songs they're going to play. They said, we want to play a song called Breathe. And I was like, oh, thank you. So I just want us to take a minute and remember how precious breath is, just like I talked about a little bit in my prayer and my meditation. And you know, right now, it's hard for a lot of us in the Bay Area to breathe because of the incredible fires. And I noticed a lot of new people have joined us. So I just want to remind you that a week ago, this was the beautiful Sufi Center, and this is what's left, or what it looks like now. Wow. So, you know, like looking at these pictures, let's, you know, thank you so much, Mickey, for talking about empathy, because right now it is time for us to have tremendous empathy for ourselves, for each other. So let's have empathy for people that are dealing with the fires, empathy for the people that are dealing with COVID, the economic crisis, and how ironic that we're going to be hearing a song called Breathe. You know, when people get sick or even die from COVID, it's because they can't breathe. So a perfect song, and just really grateful to have iStar with us. Take it away.
Let us take a breath in. Let it out. Keeping that going. We've been staying steady on our breathing practices for many years, but switching it up continually today around the high five. She committed to a Wim Hof breathing practice, and
So good.
it's so good. So keep that breath going deep down into the belly, relaxing the shoulders, letting the universal life force flow through us.
Secret smoke fires awoke from the dusk outside my dawn. The elephants broke the seat, the children drove on the musk outside the foam. Home lingering in my heart cavities, deep in the dark, awaiting the light to penetrate. The sleeping caves and the wisdom that bathes the awakening of perfect meditation. One new down the leaves I have turned brown, melt into the earth once again. The fog stars that I am, stars that I am, stars that you are. The beauty of the earth, the strength of the branches, of the breeze, so I don't shoot in trances, the joy to breathe, move with the rhythm, change to breathe while you breathe,
Breathe while I breathe, breathe while you breathe, breathe while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, breathe while I breathe, breathe while you breathe, breathe while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe. I heard that you a shepherd, you don't lie to the flock. I began to grow antennas to use like eyes in the dark. If you're a leopard, stretch skies into spots. Check the temp, I only ride when it's hot. My only weapon, the mind and the thoughts, lines in the dark. Time falls apart, always refining the art. We blind at the start, but when the pupil is open, then the visions will appear. The room illuminated by the glow of the lunar sphere. The lower passage of the stratosphere. Behold the shattered mirror, dark refraction, the image clear and sear ship. I saw a voice but couldn't hear it. The hidden spirit manifested in the lyrics. The mic is like a gear shift, plugged into the heart of a man for transmission. Red line repeatedly, my hands blistering, encourage you to move against listening. Walking on the dunes, sand shifting, hard to make the transition. To stand without slipping, alone at night sitting. Is that the price of vision? So tired of fighting women. It's time to write this system, it cuts like knife incisions. Turns a life decision into a crisis. Rhythms I choose the ripest, driven with smooth, decisive strikes and weak ciphers. Sleep with 3 vipers, one in each hand, one in the teeth that greets ISIS as we seek to breathe life. It's like the realm of the enchanted, released in the streets where peace is planted, leaves expanded, weaving hammocks with a Spider-Woman standard. Dreams are candid expositions, the themes commanded. In the night I've seen the damage.
I have become my own creation, fed by the rays of the sun. Wisdom in the ground I have found truly one. It's truly free, there is no difference between me. I have become my own creation, fed by the rays of the sun. Wisdom in the ground I have found truly one. It's truly free, there is no difference between me. No, there is no difference. Oh, oh, yeah,
Breathe while I breathe, breathe while you breathe, breathe while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, breathe while I breathe, breathe while you breathe, breathe while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, breathe while I breathe, while you breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, breathe while I breathe, while you breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while you breathe, while I while I breathe, while you breathe, while you breathe, breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, while I breathe, through computer screens, breathe, while we breathe, while I breathe, while you breathe, while we breathe, while we breathe, while we breathe,
Thank you so much for reminding us to breathe. Thank you.
Reminding ourselves,
Yes.
reminding you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, to become conscious breathers from recovering shallow breathers. That is the practice of most of us.
Yeah, you know, it's like the first step of empowerment, isn't it? So we can all learn more and support iStar. Let's buy their music. Go to istarvision.com. They have a brand new album out called Cycles, istarvision.com. And they've been on our show before, and I sure hope they'll be back again. God bless you both. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott. And we have one more presenter, a little more music, and one more video. And we're going to bring Fred Burks back to sum it all up, to give us an overview. Fred Burks, again, is the manager of the Peers Nonprofit Network of Transformation Focus website that gives you verifiable information of all these topics we were talking about. His deepest intention for his entire adult life has been to live in service of all beings. And this is certainly a service of love that he's doing with this website. And he's got an amazing overview of this topic and how to deal with it. And I'd love for you to sum it up for us, Brad, and give us the icing on the cake on this important topic that we've been engaging in here. Fred Burks.
Thank you, Deborah. And I'm so thrilled that it's come around to breath. I didn't know I was going to do this because breath is just so important. And I want to mention there's a beautiful a practice of breathing sacred love on one of our websites, which is weboflove.org. It's all about how we breathe sacred love in and out and how that can help us to transform. So let's all take a nice deep breath together. Breathe into your heart. Light that lies deep inside of me, come forth in all thy majesty. Show me thy gaze, teach me thy ways, that I a better person may be. Darkness that lies deep inside of me, come forth in all thy mystery. Show me thy gaze, teach me thy ways, that I a better person may be. Love that lies deep inside of me, come forth in all thy unity. Let me be thy gaze. Let me teach thy ways, that I a better person may be. In your core, you are a brilliant being of light. You have unlimited potential. You are a powerful creator. And yet at the same time, in your being, there are layers of shadows. There are layers of darkness that cover your brilliance and that keep you from expressing your amazing inner magnificence. We all have these polarities inside of us. We have this core brilliance. We come from that same beautiful divine source. And yet we came here to learn and grow. We came to this planet. And so we enveloped ourselves in all of these shadows and all of these layers that keep us from seeing and experiencing and sharing that beautiful inner light. And so there's a way that we have this polarity inside of ourselves. And yet at the same time, we have so much polarity in our world. We have the Trump haters, the Trump lovers. We have the mask haters and the mask lovers. You name it, so many polarities that we're having to deal with right now. And yet how much does it really serve to be stuck on either side of a polarity? What if life really is a cosmic game? If it's a divine drama that we're here, as Paul Levy was talking about, that we create out of our own mind, our own deep inner selves, somehow it's a reflection out there. What if we need bad guys to make it work? What if we need the shadow to help us to learn and grow? What if the shadow is actually our teacher? What if we can become shadow dancers who, yes, we celebrate the light, we welcome it in, we breathe it, we share it, yet we also dance with the shadow because it is what helps us to grow and blossom in all of our beauty, all the rainbow spectrum from black to white, everything in the middle, every part of us growing. I really invite everyone to join me on this journey, which has been so powerful, of looking at the shadows inside. We all have these deep shadows inside. And then as Mickey Huff was talking about at Project Censored, looking at the shadows outside, how is it that somehow we end up being manipulated, and so many people end up being manipulated. What is really going on right now with the virus? Is there a deeper story? Are we willing to question our own beliefs, whatever they are, about what's happening right now in the world, about what's happening right now inside of ourselves? It is so powerful to do that deep, profound inner inquiry. And what I can tell you, because I have been researching deep into the deep state, into the dark shadows, because that's what I was called here to do. I know my lifetime, that's what I came here to do. And so I've spent many years looking for the most reliable, verifiable information that I can share with others to help them to understand both the global shadow and the shadow inside of ourselves. And you'll see, I founded a nonprofit, Peers, which has 13 websites now that are all about various aspects of the shadow and that are meant to inspire us to do this inquiry and to step ever more fully into our magnificence through the door of the shadows, to learning to surf these shadows. And so I invite you to really join me on this inquiry, like really looking inside. And you can take a look at our websites, peerservice.org. And for those who really want to see the most popular website that I manage, it's called wanttoknow.info. And Want to Know uses all the reliable, verifiable information to help you form your own opinions. It's not meant to teach you what's really going on. It presents lots and lots of evidence, lots and lots of things that you can verify and check for yourself, and then see what's really going on. What's really going on behind the scenes with this virus? What's going on inside of ourselves? And one of the key pieces for me is that we have to open up to our guidance, our higher guidance and our inner guidance as we're exploring these things. Because I don't trust my own mind. I don't trust my own heart and soul even fully. What I do is I trust that we are guided, that I have this inner wisdom, that there is a greater wisdom. There are spirit guides, guardian angels who are available to us. And if we call them in continually as we explore the shadow realms, we will be guided. I could tell many stories of miracles of how I have been led to information. I had a dream one time with a name that came to me, and I explored the name, and boom, turns out this is an amazing person I never knew about, who was a professor at Georgetown University who knew all about the deep stuff. So open to our higher guidance. And I just really invite everybody to feel into the beauty of having shadow and light inside of ourselves. And I'd like to close with a beautiful quote by the great writer Alexander Solzhenitsyn. The line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of every human being. And who is willing to destroy a piece of his own heart? Much love and many blessings to each and every one of you. And thank you for being on this journey with me and with us.
Well, thank you very, very much, Mickey. I've been trying to get to all of your different websites. So we're going to take a look at a few of them. Here is your main one, peerservice.org. And again, this is one of the nonprofit organizations that we're going to be supporting. So, thank you very much. And here's kind of the logo for Peers. I like that logo. Public Education and Empowerment Resource Service since 2006. Thank you so much. It's so important. And I'm going to go to a couple of the other websites that you talked about. You talked about wanttoknowthetruth.com. And I was able to find it, luckily.
Wanttoknow.info.
.info, thank you. Okay. So there is that one. And just tell us a little bit more about how to scroll through this particular one, Fred.
Well, it's set up so that there's all sorts of topics, and you can see what is the topic that you're most interested in. We've got right now at the top all about the COVID and the virus, but there's sections on the media. There's a great section on UFOs where you'll find mind-blowing information that is verifiable and reliable about UFOs. That's under the other tab at the top right. Lots of information on media cover-ups. We feature Project Censored with Mickey Huff. We've had stuff from Justin, The Stillness in the Storm. So you can just read through that homepage on wanttoknow.info and you'll find lots of topics. People tell me they get lost following all the links, but they love it. So you'll be able to find what it is that most calls to you and explore that while opening to your guidance as you're doing this.
You know, one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Fred, is although you are immersed in all this information that can be, you know, drive someone crazy and also become very cynical, I love your spirituality. I love that you keep bringing it back to love, because I'm, like I say, I'm a love coach.
Absolutely.
And it was good to know about your weboflove.org, and just that after all you've gone through, you still, you know, come around to, you know, the sanctity of life and the sanctity of
I wouldn't do it if I weren't spreading this also. It cannot be all shadow. It has to be a dance of shadow and light. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, we are children of the earth, and the earth at all times is in shadow and in light simultaneously. And we are children of the earth, so it's important to remember that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show. You really brought a lot, and you're a very beloved and important member of our community.
Thank you.
And speaking of beloved, hopefully it's still beloved to you. We're going to have a little more JP, and we all have ideas about masks, when to wear them, when not to wear them. So I'm curious to see what JP has to say about masks. Let's hear it.
Don't just stop. Don't come any closer. I need a 6-foot perimeter here. How could you be so reckless? I always wear a mask in my car because my grandfather fought in World War II and I'm trying to be just as brave. And now anytime I'm in my car, I also wear a condom because... Don't just stop! Don't come any closer. I need a 6-foot perimeter here. How could you be so reckless? I always wear a mask in my car because my grandfather fought in World War II and I'm trying to be just as brave. And now anytime I'm in my car, I also wear a condom because I don't want to get STDs either. And it works on the same medical premise. I think it takes a courageous individual to boldly wear a mask while they're in their car by themselves. It's a pretty rare trait. We're like the Navy SEALs of the roadways. We're pretty elite. That's why you don't see very many of us. But you do see some of us. Wearing my mask while I'm by myself in my car basically says, I might have COVID, and if I do, I don't want to catch it from myself, because when I'm in my car, I'm within 6 feet of myself. So technically, I'm breaking social distancing rules, and I don't feel good about that. I got my degree in being under a trance from the State is Deceiving Me University. If there's one thing I love about airplanes, it's breathing the recycled air. And my commitment to wearing my mask in my car gives me the same recycled air purification while I'm in my car. It's innovative and cleansing. It's like we're basically in flying cars now. When people see me drive by in my mask, I know what they're thinking. Thank you for your service to our country. And you know what, people? You're welcome. They're definitely also thinking, he's an inspiration, that's a powerful virtue signal, and he's probably really well versed on the latest virus knowledge. When I get out of my car, I put on a mask over my mask because I don't want my mask to get infected while it's protecting me. Do I take my mask off at home? No, I'm not suicidal. I also walk with crutches, just to take weight off my knees to help prevent me from getting a knee injury. I think it actually strengthens my legs and character. You can be one of the first to get your hand chakras on 2 new Awakened shirt designs, the Stay Weird and the Tupac Chopra. If you're like me and think normalcy is one of the worst diseases to infect humanity, then the new Stay Weird design will remind you and the world around you to be your unapologetic weird self. The Tupac Troper is one of my all-time favorite concepts. It's fun, and it always lets people know that your guru is better than their guru. Awaken shirts are never factory farmed and are always gluten-free, hormone-free, GMO-free, grass-fed, vegan-friendly, keto-friendly, paleo-fluid, gender-neutral, bathroom-friendly, and all-inclusive. New research shows Awaken shirts increase your IQ, nobility, and athletic ability by 333%. That last statement hasn't been scientifically validated. In fact, nothing I've ever said has been scientifically validated, including this statement. Does that mean this might be valid? Grab the new Tupac Troper and Stay Weird designs, as well as any of the classic Awaken shirts at awakenwithjp.com/shop.
Let's all awaken with JP. Is a lot of fun. I got to tell you, I see these over. It's one of those things. The more I see them, the more I laugh. Actually, so thank you everybody for laughing with us. I want to just acknowledge everybody who's still with us all the way through, and we're getting very close to community connection time. So if you're wanting to come onto camera, what I need you to do is send me a message, pop it in the chat box, and let me know what it is you'd like to share. And again, we want to hear what inspired you, maybe something you learned, one of your takeaways or some of your takeaways from tonight. Love to have that be what people share. We're not available for you to trash anybody or anything, but we're definitely here to hear what you're inspired by. I know that I'm certainly inspired by the wonderful musicians we have, and it's time for another song. And our last song for the night, by the beautiful, wonderful Samuel J. Samuel J., take it away. We're not hearing you. Not hearing you.
Sorry, I was just saying thank you to everybody. I'm really enjoying what a beautiful orchestration you guys have put together. I never take for granted all the work that's put into presenting something both professionally and that is for the greater good of things, and that I will always be giving my time to that, because that's what I most believe in, the power of music and manifestation, and a lot of what we've been speaking of this evening in this show, of course, really comes back to the concept of valuing yourself, valuing yourself so that you can value others and value the earth, and doing that is quite purposeful, actually. And the song is called Become the Vision, and it's been inspired by these pretty wild chapters that we're all in together, and I'll let the music express the rest.
I once found a place where I breathe easy, where my troubles fade. Fearless in my chest, I was close to the ocean, where I felt my soul catch rest. We all have wide open horizons. Will you take your eyes and open them? Will you find? Or will we be held back by the past still trapped behind us? Or will we be held back by that past behind us? For your time it is not gone. Dream, yeah, before your love it is not lost. Dream, yeah, before you close your eyes. Dream, become the vision that you want to see. Become the vision that you always believe. Yeah. Oh. Different perspectives or respect them. Different tongue or same wisdom. We on a mission to bring your vision, coming through with the greatest now precision. All once found a place, yeah, where the fallen leaves they reclaim back the land. My fellow, hey, my people, taking a step high, holding hand in hand, no longer held back by the past now behind us. So vision for your time has for your promise, no heart, yeah, yeah, yeah. Come vision, yeah, yeah, yeah. Come the vision, wanna see, become the vision. Oh, I would like to give thanks to everyone that shared from their own heart, the speakers of this night, all of the people that tuned in from around the world, all generations, to all these boys and girls. Yeah. We can all become the vision that we want to see. This has been an honor to play.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Big thanks to Scott holding this space and weaving us all together.
Well, thank you, Samuel. You know, it's one of the things I'm loving about this opportunity is meeting people like yourself. And one of the things I just want to acknowledge, in addition to his amazing music and how lovely it was to have him kind of add those lines at the end, acknowledging us. He works with underprivileged children wherever he tours. I know he's in New York right now. And he invites local children to perform and be young elders. So thank you for doing that beautiful work, Samuel. And he has an award-winning album called Brazil Live Project, where he works with some of Brazil's greatest talents. And the funds from that go towards helping underprivileged children all across Brazil. And he's planning to do this in Africa and then in India. So Samuel, thank you so much for combining the music that you create with supporting young people. That's really, really cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well,
doing our part.
We are winding down. I've had one person who's asked to come in, Anthony Phillipson, share a little something. But before we do that, I want to see if Sharia has anything she'd like to say. And I'm taking a look to see, we saw people from like UK. In England, it's got to be like what, 5 o'clock in the morning there. Thank you for watching. And you know, there's a beautiful note from someone named Katie that was really beautiful. She wrote, I'm just going to read it because it feels so good. She says, I'm so inspired. The condition of the world has been a heavy weight for my 58 years, and you all have so lifted my heart. To see others express what I've carried so deeply for so long in my heart. So much love and gratitude for each and every one of you. So thank you, Katie. And I think that probably represents what a few people are feeling. And again, remember, you can find out more about Samuel's music by going to samjmusic.com. And let's always support our artists. And thanks again, Samuel. Hope you'll come back again. I'm putting the spotlight on our co-producer and co-host and presenter, Sharia. Thank you, Sharia, for all your contributions for making this show a great success.
Thank you very much. I'm in quiet time in my house now, so I'm going to quietly take my leave. Thank you all very much.
All right. Thank you. And iStar, I want to, again, just thank you. It's so good to have you and your beloved wife and your family with us. Thank you very much
for having us.
And, even though Fred Burks was one of the last people to speak, in fact, our last speaker, because we wanted him to wrap it up, he's been with us on the show the whole time. So thank you, Fred, for being with us all through this entire.
Thank you, all you guys, great work, really awesome.
Anthony Phillipson, if you're wanting to come on camera and say something, I need you to turn your camera on. And while I wait for that, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you, everyone, for hanging in there with us of this important subject. And we hope to keep flowering it out to all that's happening now with the pulse of what's happening and giving really valuable, important information on all of this, as well as many other topics we're going to be doing in September and hopefully in our next season. And I want to make sure to invite you to next week, September 5th. Let's make the shift happen. Time to redesign our world. We're going to be co-sponsoring and collaborating with the Shift Network and honoring them as they are preparing for their Shift Summit and Music Festival that's going to happen September 18th to 21st. Very large, incredible music festival with the top speakers, the top musicians, all integrated together, really addressing these themes. And for our show on September 5th, we're going to have Indigenous elders, Grandmother Flor de Mayo, we'll have Phil Lane, we'll have shamanic journey expert, Sandra Engerman. We're going to have the founders of Shift Network, Stephen Dinan and Dava Haley Mitchell. We're also going to have the founders of Sign Network, John Raymer and Summerjoy Raymer. We're also going to have music with Donna DeLore, James Twyman, and Kristen Hoffman, and a magic openness, Paul Draper. And then on September 12th, very important topic, Indigenous wisdom as a source for deep healing and transformation in our time, with incredible Indigenous elders and younger Indigenous people to share with us what they think is going on and give us some light in this darkness right now. And many other things coming up. So please join us. Thank you for all your donations. Thanks for being with us and sending so much love.
Thank you, Deborah, for everything you do. Just want to ask you to take a breath and look at Deborah and just maximum grace for all that Deborah does to make the show happen. Thank you, Deborah. I want to, before we go to Anthony, I do want to thank more donations have come in. I kind of lost track, but I think I left off with Solana. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Monica. Oh, that all kind of rhymes. Thank you, Francine. Very generous donation. Thank you, Francine. Sharon, thank you. Beloved friend, Kathleen Gildred. I assume it's that Kathleen. Thank you, Kathleen. And we really appreciate all of you and your donations. All right. Anthony Phillipson, an old friend of mine, actually. Good to see you, Anthony. And what is it you'd like to share?
Yesterday, I attended online a video of a pandemic town hall, and it's hosted by something called the Medical Freedom Pack.com, which is a political pack which has been created for us to have medical freedom. And the town hall was a remarkable, well, it had 3 doctors who were using, the first one was in practice, in his regular practice, using ways of helping people either get over symptoms of COVID-19. Then the second one was an intensive care doctor who was using protocols that was helping people who were in serious conditions with COVID and saving a lot of lives with his protocol that is not being publicly made. And the third one was a doctor with a huge clinic, and she uses preventative approaches, integrative approaches with vitamins and supplements and etc. to help strengthen your immune system and to overcome symptoms if you start to get them. So it was jam-packed with information. I must say I had a reaction to the introduction, which, well, that's grist for my mill to deal with. But I strongly recommend it for the information. An hour and a half packed with information by these 3 doctors. So medicalfreedompack.com. If you go to that, you can join the pack. And there's a banner across the top of the front page of that website about this town hall. I watched the live one last night, and there's a recorded version that's available. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for letting us know about that. And maybe you can put that link into the chat box, and then we'll put it out. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching. And I want to remind one of the themes that came up that I kind of just want to remind us all. I truly believe it's a dream world. We're experiencing a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. And I'm choosing to dream that all of us are going to come together as we are. And we call this the Global Peace Tribe. And each and every one of you watching is part of the Global Peace Tribe. Michael out in Johannesburg, South Africa, where it's 6:20 in the morning right now. Thank you, people all over the world. And let us use these times to really do the work that we came here to do, which is to love. It's not necessarily what we do professionally, although that's often important. We're here to learn to love, starting with ourselves. So let's all practice self-love. And remember, self-love is not selfish, but let's all practice self-love. Let's all practice listening to each other. Let's open our minds. Remember, I'm paraphrasing, but Einstein had a great quote. The true measure of intelligence is how quickly we can change our beliefs. And that's just from, one of the smarter guys who's been around, Mr. Einstein. Thank you. Let's just be open, keep remaining open, and let's dream this beautiful dream of, as dark and as shadowy and as challenging as certain things seem, let's find the light, let's find the love, and let's do it holding hands with each other. We're going to finish with one more J.P. Sears video, and it's a video called Dear Haters. I want to acknowledge, I really appreciate that. I don't think Deborah and I have received hate mail yet. We get a lot of wonderful mail, a lot of people writing to us, so I'm grateful for that. But in case we ever have to deal with the haters, here's how it impacts him. Let's see what he has to say. Oh.
Dear haters.
Oh, let's make it large first. There we go. All right. JP, how do you deal with the haters? Let us know.
Dear haters, and to all who have left me a nasty comment, I just want you to know I read them and I'm sorry. You're right. I am a crappy person. Thank you for helping me learn this. You're making a big difference. I'm not talking about those who have left a comment disagreeing. I love disagreement. God help us all if everybody thought the way I do. I'm talking about those who are the upstanding leaders in our society
who have a degree of emotional maturity to the point where they try to hurt my feelings when I say something they don't like. And my feelings are hurt. Big time. I love how you try to exterminate all thinking, ideas, and people that don't fit your most ideal vision of how the world should be. Hitler would be proud of you. Nice video, you far right. You stopped being funny a long time ago. I didn't know I was far right, but now I do. And wow, you have no idea how much my life has unraveled since I read your impactful comment. And also, thank you for continuing to watch my videos even though they stopped being funny a long time ago. It makes sense that you still watch them. Dear haters, you're the ISIS of the internet, terrorizing people in the comments section while being man enough to say what you think face to face with someone while they're in the arena and you're hiding behind your keyboard. Let's see what Love and Peacebringer 157 has to say. You're putting everyone's lives at risk with your irresponsible commentary on COVID. Your wife should leave you because you're toxic. Good point. Babe, you should leave me.
Why?
Because someone didn't like my video.
Okay, I'll leave you.
Fantastic. How about another? You're a disgrace to society, you leftist hippie idiot. Educate yourself. Now I'm on the left. I also didn't know that. And indeed, my education begins with the scholarly parable you've just authored. And another. You couldn't be more wrong and deserve to be beaten to death. Unfollow. Because I deserve to be beaten to death, I appreciate you trying to get my attention to let me know you're unfollowing me. And your unfollow has really dismantled my whole online presence. I mean, I've gotten like 2,500 new followers today, but your unfollows really destroyed my world. Last one. You suck. Stop making videos. Your words have inspired me. I will stop making videos. Let me just delete my YouTube channel here real quick. Okay, done. Dear haters, your willingness to avoid spending time making a difference in the world so you can devote your time to cutting down those who are trying to make a difference in the world is making a difference in the world. You're admirable. Just like how the quarterback intensely listens to what the people in the stands are yelling at him because they haven't stepped foot on the field in their entire life, I hear you, and thank you for your service to our country. I assume there's a Medal of Honor waiting for you. Now for real, I might not be an online hater, but do you know what I do hate? Blue light. That's why I want to thank BlueBlox for sponsoring this video. Scientists who are significantly smarter than me inform us that the blue light from our screens and indoor lighting at night reduces the amount of sleep hormones that our bodies produce. That unfortunately means your hormones get screwed up, you get less sleep and have less energy. But BlueBlox solves this problem for you by blocking the harmful blue light. In the evening, I just put on a pair of the Summer Glows, and then as it gets darker at night, I put on a pair of the Sleep Plus. The Maverick model is my favorite. So if you'd like to join me in easily getting great sleep and having abundant energy, get your pair of BlueBlox at blueblox.com/JP. And to get 15% off, just use the discount code JP. And to all who have left me a nasty comment, just want you.
There we go. My mouse is acting up. I got to get another mouse. Well, thank you, JP, for helping me to, be prepared in case we need to deal with some haters. But I want to thank all of you that are lovers. Thank you. Have a beautiful week. Tomorrow morning, every morning at 10 a.m., I have my Sacred Sunday show. Tomorrow, we're going to look at how to inspire and find the divinity within us. I'm going to put the spotlight on Deborah again one more time. Deborah, anything else you want to say?
I just appreciate everyone here. Every time we do a different topic, it's always over the top, never know what to expect, and it all weaves together so beautifully with all the presenters, especially JP giving us some humor. And thank you, Scott. You haven't been thanked enough for all that you do. We have a pretty radical reality now holding everything, and you're amazing how you pull it all together and manage all the tech, and your amazing comments, and I love you.
I love you too. Thank you. All right, everybody, this is it. Have a beautiful evening, a lovely weekend. Thanks for watching. And remember, share this with your friends. It's really wonderful when people enjoy our show and share it on their wall, because that's how new people find us. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Good night.